calls that we've had, it feels like that's a huge priority for Tom and his group, so we're excited to get started on a lot of that work. And it's an important one. I think you look at how much we generate from an economic impact in downtown. It's almost $700 million. We're bringing 1.6 million people down to the Moda Center each year. So it's a really great opportunity to do something incredible down here. The governor and the mayor have both publicly said that they're willing and excited to do a public-private partnership. I've been able to thank both of them personally for that message. So I think there's nothing but momentum to try to get something done.
But you're not on the side of we need a new building.
Not at this time. Of course, new ownership will have a decision on that. But I think this building has, as they say in those terms, good bones, right? So.
Dwayne, as far as the transition, is this working? I don't know, as far as the transition goes with the ownership, how would you describe like what you're able to do? Is it business as usual, like big decisions or that sort of a thing? Do you feel like you have the choice to be able to do that?
Yeah, that was really a priority for us, even when this process started in this spring, was that it was business as usual. So, Jody maintains her ownership of the team, the estate, all of that until a time when that changes, which we don't know the total deadline or timeline on that yet. But we've been able to get a lot of projects done around here, been able to sign players, trade players. Joel can talk more about that, but there has not been any restrictions or anything in terms of how we operate the business. And Jody's always been focused on the long-term, sustainability of the franchise, and that's the route we've taken.
Wait, it doesn't work, but it makes me feel important. Can you describe the business impact of drafting young and the kind of this global surge in popularity of the team? What does that look like for you guys internally, and what decisions have you guys had to make to sort of prepare for what that means?
Yeah, I remember in Joe's first press conference as GM, he made a point to say that the team was going to invest in international scouting and players, and he'll be able to tell you this. I hope I'm not stealing his thunder, but this team played the most international minutes of any team in the league, and two of our prominent players are obviously international stars. So for me on the business side, when we drafted Young, of course I was very excited for what those opportunities meant for our organization globally. I think it's really important for us to make sure we build that relationship. There are fans that may have heard of us in China, but there's plenty of new fans who are hearing about the Portland Trailblazers for the first time, and I think we need to be authentic and focused in our relationship building that we do with them. And of course, if you do that well, I think there's business opportunities down the road. One thing that I noticed this summer, I've been with the team, like I said, almost 13 years, and we were #1 in the league in social media rankings in July during Summer League, which I've never seen before, and a lot of that was due to the incredible audience that Hansen brings to us. And then in terms of our Chinese platforms, which I'm still just getting to know, Douyin, Red Note, and those areas, it's been an incredible explosive growth. So I think this has been our team did such an incredible job in July, I think, building those relationships, and looking forward to starting that for the season. Hey, Tammy.
Have any comment? Obviously, it is not to do with your team, but it's to do with another team that will play in the building. Any comment on the Rush Sports lawsuit against the Churns, who are part of the ownership group to buy the Blazers here coming up?
Thanks, Tammy. No comment on my side. Obviously, that lawsuit does not concern the Blazers or the estate.
You may have already answered this question, so forgive me, but what level of communication, if at all, have you had with Mr. Dundon and his ownership group, and what have those conversations been like if you've had those?
Yeah, as we do with any new ownership group, there's a lot of due diligence calls that happen, lots of questions, getting Tom up to speed on the franchise. So I would just characterize those conversations as he's energetic, he's got lots of questions, and he seems like a great guy.
What are you thinking about as head of business ops about kind of this ownership transition? That is obviously a huge shakeup for your staff. So kind of just talk me through how you're talking with your staff through that, and kind of just how the front office is approaching this change of ownership.
Yeah, our situation's unique. I think we all knew at some point the team was going to be sold, and so it was always in the back of, I think, every staff member's mind that at some point this would happen. I remember we met as an all-staff when that news broke and answered a bunch of questions, and staff were really, I think, in a great spot. And I said this last week at a meeting we did with the scoreboards, but I do want to commend our staff for being able to manage through this. I think, there's always uncertainty when these things happen. You can't avoid that. But we've done a lot and accomplished a lot this summer as a group, and I'm really excited that, even with the uncertainty, our team has really plowed forward and made some. It hasn't disrupted the momentum that we started in the second half of the season.
Dwayne, you talked about building that relationship with China and stuff. Like, what does that look like? What does that really entail?
I mean, it's a lot of. I mean, there's a couple things. One, it's a lot of building on social media. So we worked very closely with NBA China. I think our staff in the last 2 months has taken speed courses on trying to understand what the opportunities are in China, both from a engagement standpoint and then also a business standpoint. There's the international games, which are going back to Macau this year. Obviously, we're not part of those, but we're kind of watching to see how that takes place. And then for us, what's exciting is being on the West Coast and starting our games when we start them. It's actually a very good time for China. It's their morning and their time to be able to view those games, so that's been great. And then I've just been pinging my colleague at the Houston Rockets, who's been there a long time. She's the president, and trying to understand not just the initial burst of excitement that fans had when they drafted Yao, but the carry-on effects of having someone like that on your team. Like, you become a team that country cares about, I think, even after the fact. So,
Will you be adding any staffing to address this?
Yeah. So we have hired. Person doesn't start for a bit, but we hired a social media person who's Mandarin speaking who can help us manage that content.
Dwayne, thank you for taking this. I was wondering, are there any data you would like to share or operational strategy for business since Hansen joined the Trailblazer, especially when you get onto this position, and anything you can share with us today?
Yeah, I think, as I said, it's been a bit of a crash course for the last 2 months in us in terms of understanding that. I remember going to a summer league practice and talking to one of our staff members who played over in China, and he walked up to me and he said, "Are you ready to have 800 million new sets of eyes on your product?" And I kind of laughed. And then summer league happened, and for those who got to see it, it was quite the experience. So again, we're still getting our arms around it. A priority really is to build that relationship, introduce the Portland Trailblazers, introduce Hansen and the rest of the team to that audience, and get them really excited about our team.
All right. Thank you, Dwayne.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
We'll have Joe coming up in just a few minutes.
How can the Blazers have around $4.25 billion if they can't see it? They can't hear it. I like the idea that it's sort of a conch.
Yeah, exactly. It's just entirely. 1, 2, 3, 4. Microphone check. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Everyone, shotgun mics are taking a second.
Did you see the Feinbaum is thinking about leaving ESPN to run for U.S. Senate as a Republican? Okay. Good on that, thank you.
Start, and then we'll ask for questions after.
Hi, everyone. Welcome. Been a couple months since we last spoke, since Dame's press conference. So just to get you caught up on July, August, September. Had a great off season. Our guys got a ton of work in, probably more than I've ever seen. So just want to give them a big hat tip, to them and our staff for just getting really quality work in. As you know, we're still a young, developing team, and these guys continue to put in the work. So we're excited tomorrow to roll the ball out and see what we got. A few injury updates. I think you're all caught up on Scoot Henderson, and we can get into that a little bit. Tore his hamstring last week in some scrimmages, just 5-on-5 open pickup games. Disappointing, of course. You never want to see a guy go down, but Scoot's resilient. We'll get through this. hopefully won't miss too much time. Hamstrings are tricky. We gave a broad timeline on it. We said 4 to 8 weeks. I've been told, it could be as quick as 4, it could take as long as 10, and sometimes, if they're stubborn, he won't feel right for even longer than that. So we're just going to rest and rehab and really be diligent about getting him back, and we'll, of course, be smart with, the tempo we bring him back at. We're obviously thinking big picture with Scoot. Other injury things, Robert Williams, he had a good summer. He had surgery towards the end of last season, so all summer long we've just been rehabbing hard, getting that strengthening back to where it needs to be, getting that balance in order. We've started to really ramp him up. We haven't cleared him for contact yet, but we're not too far away from that. My big thing is want to make sure he's in incredible shape before we put him out there on the court. Again, be smart, think big picture with Rob. Other than that, we're doing pretty good. Have a few guys with, some bumps and bruises, but other than that, we're pretty good to go. So happy to open it up. I'm sure you have many questions.
Joe, considering Scoot's injury, who else are you comfortable with playing point guard?
Yep.
So, we have some primary ball handlers still with Drew Holiday, Blake Wesley, Caleb Love on a two-way. But one thing I really like about our roster is our versatility. We've got quite a few guys who are very good with the ball in their hands. Danny Avdia, Shaden Sharp, Tumani Kamara is getting better and better with his functionality and his handles. So we're not overly concerned with it. Obviously, a player of Scoot's caliber, it's a hit. But I think talent-wise and skill set-wise throughout our roster, we'll be able to manage it while he's out.
How, considering just what a big year this could be for Scoot in terms of growth and evolution, I know you said it's disappointing, but can you contextualize that beyond, with the fact that he's missing training camp, he'll be a month or two behind schedule by the time he gets out there going into his third year. How concerned are you about what the setback could represent for him?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not concerned, just disappointed because he put in so much good work this offseason. He had a strong close to the previous season, especially that second half. So you just wanted to see him hit the ground running. The nice thing is he's been a part of everything we've done this summer. He'll still be a part of, all the new stuff we're implementing. He'll be right there learning it. So it's just getting the rust off, and that can be, a little clunky. It's funny, we dealt with this the previous 2 seasons. Anthony 2 seasons prior when he did his thumb first game, Shaden shoulder first practice last year. So, you forget about those things because, they did get back in a timely manner, and the rust came off pretty quickly, and I expect the same with Scoot.
Joe, Scoot's injury, is there any concern that he may eventually end up needing surgery?
Everything the doctors are telling me right now is no, he won't. It's just rest and rehab. Of course, if there's a setback, that changes things, but right now it's looking very strongly that it won't need surgery.
Joe, with the sale pending, Dwayne said when he was in here that he's gotten a chance to talk to Tom Dundon a little bit. Have you gotten a chance to talk to him, and what have those conversations been like? And then also, assuming the sale doesn't close, let's say before the trade deadline, is it still Jody and Bert that are signing off on whatever you're doing, or is Tom going to be involved in that kind of decision before the sale closes?
Yeah. Yes, I've had the opportunity to meet with Tom a few times. Again, like Dwayne said, it's some early diligence, just get to know each other meetings, really positive interactions, really like his mentality and what he's going to bring to the table, and I think he's going to be great for this franchise and this city. As far as how things will work until Tom officially takes over, it's pretty clear. Jody's the chair, she's the owner, she's the final decision maker until that actual transition happens, which we're forecasting sometime, next spring.
What do you want to see from Young this season? And then do you have a plan for the two-way spot that you have open?
For Hansen, really it's just day-by-day improvement. And, it's hard for a rookie in this league, especially a rookie who comes from international play, who hasn't played, other than 4 summer league games for him. He just doesn't have a lot of quality NBA reps yet. So it's more come in, build confidence, do your thing, get better and better day by day. With him, he has external things that he has to work on as well, of course, just even the English language and these types of things. So really it's just pouring into him on a daily basis, refining his skill set, getting him acclimated to our system, understanding and learning what his teammates are capable of. But with that, you know, we're confident in his abilities and excited to see him come in and compete and potentially, you know, win a spot in the rotation.
Joe, big picture, what are your expectations for this team this season?
This season, a little like last season, where I think we still have a lot of growth left in us, and so I want to continue to see them develop. But because of last season, I thought we took a really nice step those last 41 games, where not just in wins and losses and functionality, but in our quality of play, establishing our style of play, establishing our identity. I thought we did a lot of those things where we became really defensive minded and understood that this is the way we need to play in order to win basketball games. So for us, I want to see us just continue to make those steps. You know, we've got big bets on over a handful of young guys. Those guys some have popped more than others. They all need to collectively keep improving. With that, continuing to implement the other veterans that we have. You know, we have Drew Holiday, who is obviously a really good player that we need to infuse into this roster, and that we're hoping that'll be pretty seamless. Expecting a big year from Jeremy Grant. Robert Williams, once he gets back, how do we acclimate them to our young and upcoming core?
Joe, building on your saying about Hansen's day-by-day development, do you anticipate he might spend some time on the remix as part of his, growth?
I don't know yet. His big picture development is the most important thing for us. If we're finding that he's not getting enough playing time or minutes with the Blazers roster, I'll be very open-minded to getting him to the remix and just getting him as many repetitions as possible. At this stage, I haven't thought about it a whole lot because I'm more focused on, okay, how can he help the Trailblazers? But we'll be mindful, even if it's a 2-week stretch where he's not getting a lot of minutes, maybe it's okay, go play for the remix for 2 or 3 games just to keep your conditioning up and also, like I said, get more repetitions. So it's a huge asset having a G League team, especially one here in Portland where we can bring him back and forth. We'll definitely be really focused on getting him as many reps as possible.
Joe, can you recount, was there a moment or a time where you kind of fell in love with Hansen, or that he really
identifying him early, and they also did a terrific job of educating me on his game. So really it was that over the course of that 23-24 season, a season before he declared for the draft, where I would get, every time he played, I'd get a big video edit of Hansen and, of course, watch it. And we just, over time, really grew to appreciate his game. And that book of knowledge that we acquired, or, just having that sense of comfort watching him over and over and, doing all the background work we did, it made it easier to, take what some would call a reach at 16 on him. We just had the confidence that, hey, we know this guy's game, we trust his abilities, and we're excited about him.
Was there any one performance that stood out that really kind of sold you, though?
I mean, his play in the under-19s, where he's going up against high-end prospects and holding his own. Alex Sarr and some of those kids on the French team, he held his own in that game, and I thought that was really eye-opening. And then to go and have 2 more good quality CBA seasons after that, it just reaffirmed it more than anything. And then also going into the combine, I thought he did a really good job in the combine at those 5-on-5s. That's a hard environment to play in, especially as a big man. And you can see over the course of those 2 games, the comfort level he had and his teammates had with him, because he's such a conductor. For him to be able, in such a short period of time with those guys, be able to start really fueling offense, I thought that was impressive.
Joe, you at the Dame press conference last time you talked to us, you said that it's winning time now for the Trailblazers, and moves that you've made, like bringing in Drew, would kind of speak to that. Is that still kind of your approach going into the season? Is the goal the playoffs?
The goal is to compete every night. Do we want to make the play-in? Yes. Do we want to make the playoffs? Yes. Do we want to win 16 playoff games? Yes. I don't have expectations, and I won't be disappointed if those things don't happen, as long as we're continually growing. We're still thinking big picture with this roster, knowing that until our young guys are ready to help really fuel winning, we're not going to be good enough, and we're going to take that approach. But with that, we're confident in our abilities. We're confident in the additions we've made we're expecting to be a quality team each and every night.
Joe, on that note, how do you sort of balance the understanding that you need your young guys to take the requisite jumps and adding two gentlemen in their middle 30s to the roster this offseason? Like, how do you square those two plans?
Yeah. Throughout our developmental plan, we've prioritized learning to play the right way. And to do that, we've chosen to put, I don't want to, it's probably not the right word, but guardrails on some of our guys, to where we're not just going to hand them the ball in 36 minutes and say, go nuts, figure it out. We want them to learn to play the right way, to earn what they get, to have accountability in their play. And we've chosen just that approach, you know, with specifically Scoot and Shaden. I think we've seen a lot of that where, you know, when they're playing well, when they've earned their role, they've gotten the minutes and the ball. When they're not playing as well, when their, you know, decisions get a little shaky, Chauncey pulls them back a little bit. Some of it's to protect them. Some of that is just to develop them the way we think is best, which is, you know, a hands-on approach. In time, we hope it solves itself. Like, you know, we talk a lot about, you know, you're going to earn everything you get. And in time, you hope that eventually those guys just go get the ball and then never give it back. And, you know, with some of these guys, they're already there, a guy like Denny. With others, it's still going to take some time.
Joe, I was curious, did you give Dame any tips on how to be a good GM?
It's funny, Dame and I, throughout my career, we've always talked so much about basketball. I've always admired his willingness to learn about roster building, you know, not just scouting and identifying talent, but, you know, I've talked about this, how much time he and I have spoken about the importance of the salary cap and how it works and the creativity that can put you ahead, or, you know, just the necessary function of it for building a, you know, competent roster. So we talk a lot about basketball and basketball theory.
You brought up, or back to the Drew addition, just, can you go into thinking of bringing him in and just the depth of what he might provide to the young roster?
Yeah. Obviously, still a really good basketball player who, you know, just his versatility on both ends of the floor. Still a premier defender, very, very competent offensive player. So, you know, just adding to the overall talent, we're excited about what Drew's going to do. And, you know, another thing we really liked about him, and this is where we're getting a little more directive in our roster building approach, is we love the fit with our other guys. You know, Drew's somebody who is great with the ball in his hands, but he also doesn't need the ball in his hands. So for us, you know, that's a nice fit with guys who we think can do more with the ball in their hands. You know, a guy like Danny, a guy like Shaden, Scoot, you know, of course. Drew's a terrific complement to them in those regards where, you know, he can play on or off that ball. So,
What's your stance on extending Shaden?
I never get too deep into any of these. You know, I want to keep these private between, you know, the player and us. I think, you know, the way we're building this roster and the commitment level we have to all of our young guys, we're very open-minded to, if it makes sense for both them and us, we're very open-minded to, you know, taking this out very long-term.
Joe, you mentioned, you know, the final 41 games and identity that kind of came with that. Denny was a big part of that. How much do you kind of look to empower him, and how much more opportunity do you almost overtask him just to see how far his game can go?
Yeah, I think, you know, just internally we're so excited about who he is, where he's headed. You know, it's going to be something we're going to ask a ton of him this year. You know, Danny's got a complicated game. You know, his abilities at 6'9" are rare, you know, and dribble, pass, shoot, guard, transition, you know, all the things that he brings. So, you know, with him, there'll be a little bit of guardrails as well. Like, we're still trying to shape him in or help him get to where he needs to be as a player. But with that comes empowerment. And I don't see why we won't, you know, continue to empower him like we did the second half of last season and, you know, push it to the limit and see what he's capable of.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Mic check 1 2 3. 1 2 3. Check check. All right.
Coach, how you feel the offseason went so far?
Really good, man. Really good. I'm really excited about the team. I thought the offseason was good. I really did. I thought Joe had a really good offseason acquisitions that we made and the moves that he made. Obviously, some of our better players, from last season's team are no longer on the team, but I think both in really good positions, and I like where we're at. So I thought it was a good offseason, man.
Chauncey, your defense improved last year. You've got Drew coming in. How much of an impact will he have on this? And is your defense almost your identity rather than your offense now?
I don't think our offense is, has ever, at least since I've been here, been good enough to say that was our identity. I think I've said in front of you guys for years now, telling y'all that I believe in, if we're going to be any good, we need to be a defense first team. Last year, the best thing that came out of the season for me is that we finally established that. In the second half of the season, we finally established our identity, and we'll look to get better with that. You bring in a guy like Drew Holiday, who's been one of the best defenders, really in this generation. And what he's able to do, how he's able to play, it just makes those things even better. So I'm really excited about where we are and what we're going to be able to do, in particular on the defensive end. The one area on the defensive end that we were really poor at is our defensive rebounding. That's going to be something that we have to be much better at. We'll focus on that right away, because we play such great defense, and then boom, the shot goes up, and then we don't get the ball. I mean, you got to play another 14 seconds of defense. It just wears you down. So we'll look to try to close out those defensive possessions, hopefully with a rebound.
No, just how would you describe the strengths of the defense that you guys bring?
The strengths of our defense? I think our physicality is one. Our pressure is going to be another one. And obviously, when you have Klingon at the rim, he's going to deter a lot of people. He's going to block a lot of shots. Also Robert Williams there, also Hansen. So, we want to be very disruptive defensively the entire time, and then if they do get by us, and when they do get by us, they have to deal with those guys. So I love, what we should be able to do on that end of the floor.
Chauncey, you added Splitter to your staff, and from what I saw and what I've heard, his game in Paris was an awful lot like what you want to do here. Can you talk about what he might bring to your staff?
Yeah, good question. Good question, Dwight. Yeah, I added Tiago Splitter to our staff. I studied him for a while. He did a really good job. I went over there to go see him, watch him kind of operate, watch his practice, watch his games. And I really do believe that, I just talked about, I thought us establishing our defensive identity last year was the biggest part of the season. I think this year we have to start establishing who we're going to be offensively. And a couple of my hires reflect that. You know, Tiago and Patrick St. Andrews, who was in Memphis last year, and who was under Taylor Jenkins the last few years. What I want to do with our offense, those two guys have done it. You know, so Tiago was great. You know, his offense was really potent over there in Paris, and they played really fast. They got up and down. They tried to play before defenses got set. He had a really good point guard that kind of was the MVP of the league, obviously. So he done a really good job, you know. And so yeah, I'm really excited about that and about our staff, and we've worked really hard to try to put together what I think our offensive system is going to be.
Coach, do you feel like this group is ready to take the step towards winning right now while still developing some of the younger guys? And sorry, based on what you see so far, do you think the young players themselves are ready for that?
Well, I think we had so much fun in the second half of last season trying to chase it, trying to get to that play-in. Our guys took so much pride in it, you know, and they remember that. You know, they remember that. And so now we get to start, you know, 0-0 with everybody and try to just pick that up again. You know, I think our young guys are really hungry. I really do. And they felt a little bit of what winning feels like last season, and it's fueled their off-season workouts, their commitment and dedication. I mean, it's been a really good summer. It really has been a really good summer. So I do, you know, I do. I know we're young. I know we're still trying, you know, developing and things like that. But I just think, you know, when you're very disruptive off defensively, and you try to play faster offensively, and you move the ball, and you can play before defenses get set, you never know what can happen, you know. And that's kind of how I feel. Like, I just want our young guys to take a few steps, continue to get better, and then just let the chips fall where they may.
Chauncey, you said when Dane came back that he was going to be the world's highest paid assistant coach. Do you have any kind of specific ways that you're going to be using him and leaning on him this season while he's not able to play?
Well, I haven't given him his role and responsibility like the rest of my coaches yet. But more than anything, just him keeping a really close eye on Shaden, on Scoot, on Denny. You know, those guys will be a lot of the playmakers on our team this year, and just really just kind of just digging in and pouring in, you know, where he can help those guys. You know, he's not a coach. He's a player, and he's a great player still, and there's a different level of, you know, connectivity that comes with that, you know, and everybody loves Dame, and he's very sensitive to not overstep, and we all know Dame, you know, and I told him that's not even possible because we see the game, we see this thing the same way. So he'll, you know, it's funny because when I was talking to him, he was just like, man, I don't want to come in and I don't want to be talking and doing all of the things. And I'm saying, Dame, you're Dame, you're okay. You're okay, bro. Like, just be you. Just be who you always are. They're gonna be looking for that direction, and so he'll find his way, you know, as he's trying to get himself back healthy.
Chauncey, in light of the Scoot situation, just what was your reaction to his injury, and what direction do you turn, you know, without him?
Yeah. I just feel so bad for Scoot, man. Scoot was having an incredible summer. He really was. Certain things that we wanted to work on this summer, he's worked on them all. I couldn't wait for everybody to kind of see him. So I feel really poor for Scoot right now, but it's just another speed bump for him, and he's had a few, you know, and he's really tough mentally, and he will get back and he'll be strong. But man, I do, man, my heart really hurt, you know, for Scoot when he went down that day, and then to see what it's going to be. So it's tough for us, you know, going forward. I mean, obviously having Drew and having signed Blake Wesley, and, you know, Denny's playmaking and ball handling, Shea as well, Caleb Love. I mean, we'll be okay, but, you know, the speed and aggressiveness and downhill and getting to the paint touches and things like that, we will miss that. You know, he's one of the best, and finally playing to his real superpower, you know, was it. So I just feel bad for Scoop.
Chauncey, you guys did such a good job in establishing your identity as defense, and Roy Rogers was the head of that, yet he's not back. Why isn't he back, and who is heading the defense now?
Well, Nate is doing the defense. You know, I had Nate last year, and Roy did. Roy did a really good job for us, and Roy's a really good coach. And, you know, it's funny, I go through this thing, and, you know, it's tough to say this without people taking it crazy, but, you know, you get to a point in the rebuild where, you know, I said this along both sides of the ball. You know, we're pretty much doing arithmetic. We're doing it pretty good. And then you start to get to a point where I know I've gotten a ton better, you know, and I see this thing differently. I know what I need more of, but we need to start doing a little algebra. And so you got to bring in some algebra teachers. And that's no slight to nobody. It just kind of is what it is, and it's a part of me getting better. It's a part of me challenging our guys more. And it's just kind of, that's it, you know. But Roy's a really good coach. Roy, Coach Fleming, you know, all of those dudes, they're really good coaches. It was just time for me to do something different.
Back in July, you described how this year could be really important for Dame in terms of learning how to play with these guys by watching. What are the specific ways that you think that he will need to adjust to fit a year from now when he is back and healthy?
Well, one, you know, Dame for his entire time here, I mean, he's just such a great player. You just kind of played through him every play, and God bless you, played through him every play, and you know, you had to. He's just that gifted. I think Dame knows this, and we all know this. He's going to need these guys to help him out, you know, and we're going to play faster. We're going to be moving and cutting in the half court, you know. So it's almost good that Dame's going to be able to watch that and see that all season long, you know, where he does fit in. Now, obviously, he is Dame, you know, so, and he's very focused on getting back to being who he is, you know, and we'll all benefit from that. But we're going to play, we'll play a lot different than we played before Dame left here.
Yeah, Chauncey, without Anthony, with Scoop being out at the start of the season, how much does that impede your goal of playing faster?
Yeah, that's a great question. That really is. I don't think that much. Because we're just going to have so many different guys kind of bringing the ball up the floor. It's not just one guy a lot of times. You playing fast is not just blazing the ball up the floor on a dribble. You know, a lot of times it's kick aheads. A lot of times it's where you catch the outlet. You know, just things like that. So it impacts it for sure, not having Scoot around. But we'll still play faster. You know, we just have to. You know, there's no reason to be young and athletic and versatile and play slow. There's just no reason to do it.
There's a lot of
Will there be more grab and go? Like whoever
yeah.
gets a rebound, just
Yeah, we have that's the good thing about being versatile, you know, and having so many guys be able to kind of dribble up the floor and initiate the offense, and that's why our defensive rebound is such a big deal. You know, it really is, and whoever gets it, let's just get out and go and just kind of play. So we were so bad at it last year, and we were always just looking for Ant or that one guy, and we'll just have to be different.
There was a lot of discourse this summer on who the starters would be on this team. Obviously, Scoot will be back at some point, but it seems like there's kind of 7 guys for those 5 spots. So just what is your philosophy on what the starting lineup could look like coming into training camp?
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways you could go, you know. I say this to y'all, and I say this to our guys. I'm not really the one that's deciding that. I'm really not. I'm just going to be the messenger in it, and they got to go earn it. You know, whoever earns it, whoever plays the best as a unit are going to be the starters, you know, to me. We do have, I'm really happy to even have this discussion, you know, to have the talent, to have the depth. This is new for me, you know, so I'm really excited about that. But at the end of the day, I'm a fair coach, you know, and I think that they all need to go and earn it. Like, we don't have like an all-star on this team or a top 75 guy that a Dame is not playing. You know, Drew probably will be a Hall of Famer, at some point. But we don't have that 1-2 guys. So to me, like, everybody just got to go earn it. And I've always been about that. I believe that's the best way to be. And so I'm really not making that decision, to be honest. These guys are.
Chauncey, you kind of alluded to the coaching changes. And defensively, you have this identity in being disruptive and wanting to protect the paint. But offensively, you're bringing in new coaches.
Yeah.
What do you expect your offensive identity to be? You guys have wanted to get out and run, but transition, you've lacked of efficiency. The shot location stuff changed a ton for you last year. You almost eliminated all the mid-range shots. Like, what do you kind of envision the identity of the offense being, and how different will that be compared to other teams you've had?
I think it'll be a ton different. I expect for us, again, to play faster, moving the ball up the floor. Not only that, even in the half court, some of the cutting patterns and things like that will be totally different. Not as much standing around, if you will, or just run the pick and roll and the other three guys just kind of standing and watching the entire time. We'll get away from those things. We'll be better about that, and just not being as predictable, I guess, if you will. And we have so many guys. Our best times, our best games last year, we had so many guys contributing, and 6 guys, 7 guys in double figures, and everybody just kind of sharing the basketball, sharing it. I want to be like that most nights. I want to be playing that way. I think those are the most difficult teams to play against. Where everybody's kind of live, everybody is involved, and everybody's in the action. Everybody feels, valued out there. So that's what we want to try to do.
View your center rotation. How does Hansen fit into that?
Yeah, I mean, he's right there in the mix. Obviously, DC, Rob, Hansen, DC, Hansen, Rob, Wap. I mean, we have 4 of them, and it just kind of depends on how they're all playing. If Rob is healthy, obviously he's not really ready to go right now. I think Hansen's did a really good job, these last couple months of just trying to get situated, trying to understand what we're doing. He's definitely gonna play.
Thank you, Coach. All right, Coach.
Questions?
What's this like?
I was just telling him it was a little weird, but not weird at all at the same time. So that's the best way to describe it.
Where are you at health-wise? Like, where are you on, I know it's a long path, but kind of what are you able to do, and where are you on the path?
Right now, I can do a lot of stuff. I've been running, I've been shooting. I think it's at the stage where I can do a lot, but it's tricky because you can, with this injury, what I've learned is you get to a point where you can, do a lot of these things, but the tendon is not, strong enough to stand up to it like it normally would be able to, like doing basketball activities. So it's a long period of like being stuck right here where you don't want to get carried away with what you think you could be doing because it feels good doing a lot of that stuff. You just got to kind of stay in the moment. So right now, that's just where it's at. I'm able to do a lot more activity, but still, building the strength up and, getting that tendon back to taking its normal shape.
I know you're taking this year, but is there any scenario that you could foresee, any scenario in the entire world, 1 seed going into the playoffs, anything where you would say, screw it, I'm playing?
I mean, I don't plan on it. I feel like if the team's a 1 seed going in the playoffs, then they probably got it. So I just want to be as healthy as I can possibly be and be 100% confident in it, and be able to do all of the movements and everything that it takes to be on the NBA court, and test out of everything that I need to test out of to make sure that I'm ready to go. And at that point, whenever that point is, obviously I'll have a decision to make.
What are you going to do during training camp? Like, are you going to be there? Like, what's your role at training camp for this team?
I mean, I'll be there early in the morning to get my stuff done. That's not team stuff, like my rehab, and to try to get my training in, just so that I can get that out the way and then still be there or be able to watch and go through all the stuff that the team is going through, so I can know the offense, I can know the defensive principles, I can just hear the language and everything that's being spoken over the team. And like Chauncey said, I guess I'm going to be like another assistant coach. But whatever I can be to the team at this point, that's what I'll be. But I'll definitely be there. I'll be around.
What's been the most difficult part of this process for you?
I would say, even when I've had injuries, when things have come up, I've always been able to do something about it. And I think this is the first time that it's an injury that, you can come back from, but you can't do anything about it. You got to let it take the time that it takes.
Dame, I know there's not much players usually have to say or can say about ownership, but I feel like this is a little bit of a different situation because you've been here for such a long time and you've been such a face of the organization. Have you had any kind of interactions with Tom, the incoming owner, or do you kind of have any thoughts on just the ownership change and just that part of the franchise right now?
I think it's been something that has been a discussion for some time, so I think everybody knew that it was to come at some point. I haven't had much interaction at all, but I'm sure there will be. And when it does, I'm sure I'll learn whatever I need to learn. But at this point, I've just been focused on getting reconnected and trying to get healthy.
Have you reached out to anybody who's had this injury in the past? Obviously you saw it with Wes and all that, but just to the road ahead, and have they given you any advice about what's ahead?
Yeah, I spoke to KD. I spoke to Rudy Gay, DeJounte Murray. Who else? Wes. Me and Wes talked about it every day. Wes came and worked my camp in Arizona this summer, so every day we talked about it and went over stuff. My PT that I've used this whole time has done 40 or 50 Achilles repairs, so he's pretty comfortable with it, and he knows his stuff. So I've learned a lot. What not to do when things worked out best, and also I've every couple of weeks I've been going and seeing my surgeon to make sure everything is right and what the next step should be. So that's really been it. It's just making sure I'm listening and speaking to those people who've experienced it and people who, like my surgeon, who've done these repairs over and over, and my PT who's been involved in a lot of these rehab processes as well. So that's really been it.
Consistent message that they've given you, like patience or something like that,
I would say the most consistent has just been that, don't try to be the guy that does it in record time, because it takes what it takes, and usually when people return to form is because they took the proper amount of time, and they didn't fall for the, I feel good, I can do it, when a lot of times you feel good and, it's still a few layers to the injury that, you got to work through. And that's, getting that force and being able to do a lot of the things that, you can only know if it's working or not on a basketball court, and then to run those types of tests and know that it's all the way right, and that usually takes a little bit longer. So I would say that's one thing they all said that they all had in common.
You had mentioned at the rally about Scoot and being part of his journey and what the way you feel like he can grow. And obviously he's going to be out for a while. Have you thought about kind of maybe being with him or spending time with him as you guys are both rehabilitating, since you both kind of won't be able to do on-court stuff for a while?
Yeah, I mean, neither one of us gonna be on the court for a little bit, so it'll definitely create that window of opportunity for us to have a lot more dialogue during that time. Even if he was on the court, I'm gonna still be around, and it's breaks and stuff like that, and different guys getting reps, and he's on the side where I would, definitely be able to have some type of conversation or put stuff in his ear. But now this puts it, even more of an opportunity where we're going to be around each other, doing this. I'm rehabbing, and he's going to be rehabbing and trying to get back to full health. But I'm not going to be like all in his ear, like I just know everything. But, it's a lot that I can share with him from experience. And as a young point guard, I know the desire. I've been there to, want more for yourself and want to grow, want to prove yourself. I've been through that process. I've been through the struggles. I've been through the high moments. When you want to jump out there and you want to show what you can do. I've been through all of those things. I know what it's like off the floor when you got, people saying what you need to do and what's expected. And I know that I could, help take some of that weight off his shoulders by just sharing information that I know is a fact. And it'll be a lot of opportunity to do that now to start the season.
Damian, your last season, when you were on the way out, you mentioned that things were kind of in flux, and you didn't really know the last year you were here. Things were kind of in flux, and you didn't really kind of know where your space was, and the team was incredibly young. Obviously, you were further along in your career, and you kind of looked there and said, this isn't for me right now. What's different about these guys right now? How are they looking at the game? Because there's a couple guys that were here that when you were here previously. Where have you seen them kind of grow? Where has the maturation kind of been, and where do you kind of look at all of that right now, and how not only you fit in next year, but where these guys are right now?
I think the main thing I would say is when I was traded, like a lot came back from me being traded. So like. I was traded for Drew, and now Drew is also on the team. So I would say that, a lot came back from that trade and, all of the trades that took place. And also a couple years went by. And I think, for a lot of the guys, like Shea was here my last year, he was a rookie. Tease was here, Jeremy was here. Can't think off the top of my head who else might have been here, but like I said, it's been a couple years, and I think the growth has taken place on the floor, where they had a few years to just be on the court and learn and figure it out and compete and get that experience. And I think that was just a great window of opportunity for that to happen, for that growth. And then now somebody like Drew being added to the roster, then you add myself back to the roster. I think it puts the team right in that space where you're seeing a lot of the better teams in the league, and the teams on the rise now is like they have a young core, a lot of young talent. They have depth, and it's some vets in there with experience that can get it done. And I look at this team as a team that's right in that space.
Tom Dundon and his group have said that they intend to keep the team in Portland. But until an arena deal gets done, there's going to be people who fear the worst. Why does this team matter so much to Portland, and why do you think it's important that the team does stay here for the rest of eternity?
I think the Trailblazers mean so much to Portland because it's the biggest show in town that the city is attached to. The passion that the fans have for the team. For the history of the team, it means a lot. Even my time here, when I wasn't on the team, the first 11 years that I was on the team, the connection that I've even built with the community has just meant a lot. You see how far it goes when I'm in these places, when I'm at the Boys and Girls Club, and when I'm at the schools, and that connection means a lot to them. The Trailblazers mean a lot to them. So it's easy for me to see why, it's important, or it would be fear that the team wouldn't be here. And obviously I'm someone who supports that. I came back here because I wanted to not only play for the Trailblazers, but I wanted to be in Portland, and I understand the importance of that. So I'm with them. Hopefully that's the case.
What are
There's
your
a few
kind of
NBA players who are doing the GM at college thing. Can you tell us about how that came to be for you? What you envision being able to actually do, especially now that you're not going to play this season? Steph went to Davidson, put those guys through a workout. Do you see that in the future?
For me, this is something we've talked about, I would say, for maybe 2.5 years now. And it wasn't even like a thing yet. I was talking to them about it just because I wanted to help the program. I spent 4 years there, and, I want to see the program do well. And, they have been struggling a little bit, so I wanted to help out in some way. And, it became a conversation, and then it became official. And really something that I care about is just mentorship, and helping push the game in the right direction, and help a lot of these, younger athletes, high school, even in college, learn to do things the right way. And that's why I started my elite camp. Is more of a mentorship program of not only working with them on the court, but also off the court. And it would just be my goal to run a similar program through Weber State, where even the best players can go there. 4-star, 5-star players could go there, but what they will be getting by going through the program would be something, that can't be bought, and encourage better things for them as individuals, and just for the game of basketball. So that's really the goal that I have with, taking that role on at Weber.
There's going to be a scenario where you're like going to a high school game, calling the staff, listen, there's a sophomore, we got to get on him right now.
Yeah, I mean, I could. If I saw a sophomore that made me feel that way, I definitely could do it. So, yeah, I mean, it's possible.
Dame, what are your initial thoughts and impressions of Hansen from having watched him at Summer League and then whatever time you've been able to be around him this summer?
I think he can really play. I think the first thing that stuck out to me was like his feel for the game. He just knows how to play. He knows the right pass to make. When he gets the ball in the paint, it's like he knows how to find that space to get a quality shot off. He's physical. And I like his personality. His personality off the floor. You can tell he has personality on the floor. And to me, that just shows, he has confidence. And that's something that he's going to need, coming to America, having to, learn English, and then having to, play in the best league in the world. That's something that you're going to need, and I think he's going to need that. So, when I saw him, those things stood out to me.
And Dame, so as much as an injury is a physical issue, it affects your head game too, between the years. And so coming back to Portland at such a consequential time, like, what are you doing around Portland to fill your cup? Like, is it nice being home? What are you doing to, take care of your head as long as you're with your injuries too?
My head has been great. I think one thing that people here know about me is that I'm stubborn. I don't. Some people may have a concern about it, but I'm honestly not concerned. I know that I'm willing to take the ride that I need to take to get back healthy, and I will. And once I do, and we revisit the conversation, people are gonna be like, they'll believe me, and I'll get healthy, and I'll be right. And that's just the bottom line for me. In my head, I have days where I get, frustrated that I just can't go out there and do a basketball workout, but I don't get discouraged, about it. It is what it is. It'll be another chapter that gives me the opportunity to show people that, this is not a talent or none of that. It's just it's internal. I have something in me that I just don't think everybody has, and I'll show that once again. And as far as the other stuff, I just see it also as an opportunity to not have to be so high strung about winning a game or all of those things. Like, I can be invested in the team and do everything I need to do. But it's also a time for me to be in the community. With my respect program, we reconnected with a few of the schools, and we might add a few middle schools, because there's a lot of things taking place in middle schools and single parent households and underserved communities here as well. So I'll be, taking a lot more opportunities to, pick up some of those things that, I still continue when I wasn't here, but now that I'm back living here, I'll be able to be more present in them. So a lot more of those programs that I've always done, I'll be probably doing a little bit more with those. And then also a few other things that, I've been planning for a few years now that'll, have a major impact on, the Portland community.
Thank you all. I'm over time. Appreciate it.
Thanks, James. You guys sound very enthusiastic about going to watch. It'll be exciting for him to be there. Listen, if Damian Lillard is there, you go here. Yeah, and I'm sure he's learning. Yes, that's what a few videos I saw from Summer League. I was like, this is so cute. So, to the next question, I asked her, like, more trainings or each asked a question. We need to hire a manager, right? That's the athletics. To be also the stuff. French guys. Well, my favorite Roy story when he was back on it's like before he was a star. Japan sent whatever their like ABC World Cup is to Spokane to do this huge story on him. And it was like it took a long time. It was a 12-minute video story, and it's basically just like Mark being like, we had a good practice, he's improved a lot, and then cut to like video of him dunking at practice, and then like the Japanese people saying like speaking rapidly, and then like Rui, and then like another montage of them. It was so funny.
Hello, everyone.
Denny, over here, anything you felt like you took away or added to your game from your Eurobasket experience?
I feel like I've been in stressful situations, kind of like win or go home type of tournament. So I feel like performing under pressure, taking care of the ball, and just creating off the dribble, going left. So yeah, that's about it.
Going left, a new thing?
Not a new thing. I try to do it more, though.
What excites you most about this team?
Defensively, definitely how versatile we are defensively. Wait, who asked that question? Okay, I couldn't see. Sorry. Defensively, how competitive we can be, how young, athletic, fast we are. I think our game style is going to be very fun to watch. And yeah, we have good competitors with good mix of vets, and I'm really excited with this team.
Could you elaborate on the defense? What do you like about the makeup of the defense that you guys can bring?
Just the versatility, as I said, being able to switch multiple positions, being able to have big bodies on the floor, rebounding, crash into offensive glass. Just, I think it's just a big part of what we're going to do, and it's going to give teams a lot of trouble.
And what do you see as your role on this team?
My role in this team is continue where I kind of left off, being vocal with everyone, be a leader, help everybody be in the best positions possible, and maximize the team potential. Just compete, do what I do, be aggressive, set the tone defensively, offensively. That's about it.
Denny, that second half of the season, you kind of had the big outbreak, and Joe mentioned that he wants to empower you further, almost kind of push you beyond what you can do. When you look at that, what are the things that you're kind of looking at expanding on, and the responsibilities you can possibly take on beyond what you've already shown?
So I'm going to say that I got still a lot of things to work on and add to my game. I don't think I'm a finished product yet. I do want to add a lot of stuff to my game, but I'm doing it with a lot of patience. I'm not rushing. I'm always trying to make the right play, whether it's defensively, offensively. But I think the next step for me is take care of the ball a little bit better, control the game a little bit better, slow down sometimes when I need to. And other than that, I think I'm in a good path.
Denny, what gives you confidence, or why are you confident that you won't have sort of the learning curve that you had last year, and just sort of the adjustment to figuring out how it all works?
I'm sorry, can you repeat it?
Like last year you kind of had an adjustment period with this team. Why do you feel like you won't have that this season?
I think because I've been here for a year now, I know all the people around the team. I know the players. I know coach and how he wants to play. I know the system. It takes a lot of pressure out of you. You still got to adjust here and there for little tweaks, but in general, I kind of know what's the philosophy behind our team. And as I said, I'm trying to pick up where I left off last year.
That said, Coach mentioned maybe a tweak to the offense, more movement, less pick and roll stuff. Have you seen that as you guys have kind of been getting going?
I've seen glimpses of it, but I think it's great. I mean, I trust our coaching staff to put us in the best way possible, and for me, I feel like I'm a really good driver, and the new offense with the new spacing is really helps our players to drive, so I can have a lot of benefit from it, and the players too.
I don't know how much you've been able to play with Drew, but just what have you seen out of him, and what do you think he brings to you guys?
First of all, I've seen a great human being, getting to know him, talking to him, somebody who wants to win, who wants to be here, who won things in the past. And, there's a lot to learn from him. I haven't shared the court with him yet, but I can see really great potential.
Denny, particularly with Scoot out now, have you thought at all about your ability to create and how that might factor into the lineup this year?
I mean, I think everybody, Scoot is he's a really big creator for us, and I think him being out for a little bit is gonna, everybody would need to step their game up a little bit and do some creation, creating, including myself. But, we wish him healthy and speedy recovery, and we can wait for him to get back on the court.
Speaking of the new addition of the team, what have you seen from Hansen so far on and off the court, and how would you envision you two probably working together in terms of setting offense and stuff like that?
I saw a very skilled big that he knows how to play basketball. He knows what to do. You can see he's very smart, really good passer, and he wants to learn. He wants to be a better player every day. I see him working on a lot of stuff, and I play a lot in give and goes, so for me to play with Jan, it's going to be very fun.
אתה פותח עונה חמישית בליגה עם ציפיות שלא היו ממך בעבר, גם להיות שחקן מרכזי וגם לקחת קבוצה צעירה, שישית, וגם לקחת קבוצה צעירה להצלחות. איך אתה מגיע לעמדה הזאת, גם אחרי הקיץ שעברת וגם מבחינת הציפיות והיכולת שלך להנהיג ולמלא את כל המשבצות שהם מצפים ממך?
ציפיות תמיד יהיו, וזה חלק מהקריירה שלי. אני חושב שבסך הכל עברתי כבר כברת דרך יחסית יפה, בשביל שיהיה לי ניסיון לבוא ובאמת להגיע יותר מוכן למעמד הזה. אני עובד מאוד מאוד קשה. היה לי את הקמפיין שהיה לי עם הנבחרת, שהיה יחסית דומה. אבל עוד פעם, אני קבוצה חדשה, ושחקנים חדשים, וצריך להתרגל לאט לאט, ויהיה קצת שכר לימוד בהתחלה, אבל אני מאמין שיש לנו באמת פוטנציאל מדהים לעשות משהו טוב. קבוצה צעירה שרוצה להילחם, שרוצה להצליח, וזה מה שחשוב. אני חושב שבסופו של דבר יש לי את הכלים לבוא ולהיות מנהיג בקבוצה הזאת, אבל לאט לאט.
One more question. You're talking about interactions with other players. How has been your experience so far with Dame? Getting to know him and see what he can advise you off the court this season.
I've seen Dame here and there, more in the weight room. He's not really practicing. But, I had a little bit of conversations with him. Great dude. I'm happy he's back in Portland. I know how much this team means to him, how much this city means to him. And, his dream, my dream. I want to give this city a championship as much as he does. So I can't wait to work together with him on the court and get this dream come true.
Any other questions? Thank you guys. Thanks, Nate.
You stole my question.
How we doing? How we doing?
Coach Monty.
What up? How we doing?
Oh, yeah, they were really tight.
Questions for Chumani?
Chumani, I know since you didn't play Eurobasket this summer, kind of what did your summer look like? You know, what you work on? Do you stay here most of the summer? Do you go back home at all? What do you do?
It was very busy. I was able to really work on my game. I think it's one of the first summer, especially as a pro, when I'm fully healthy and I don't have all the pre-draft and stuff to worry about. So I was really able to focus on all the aspect of my game, whether it's offensively getting better, finishing at the rim, better passing, better decision making, keep improving my shooting as well. And then defensively also, watching more film. How can I get better in that aspect? Being smarter, committing less fouls, and just being a more mature basketball player. I think that's what I was able to do this summer.
Chumani, so much has been made about the defensive identity and culture of this team. How have you been trying to continue that culture and those principles during off-season workouts with your teammates?
It's been consistent. Never really let down that aspect. I think that's what got me where I'm at today. So I think it's something that I need to keep with me my whole life, my whole career. So just being able to help this program with, we have Drew now, we have DC that's evolving at a great pace. And school defense is improving, Shaden defense is improving, everybody's defense is improving. So I'm really excited and then we have Tease, we have JG also. So it's like, I feel like all that defensively is huge. And what we're gonna be able to do, switch a lot of position and stuff like that. I think it's just coming into the gym with the same mentality every day and knowing that's who we are. and that's where we can have a big impact on almost on every game against anybody. So being able to exploit that as best as we can.
Speaking of Drew, obviously he's a well-rounded player. What kind of conversation do you have with him so far, and what do you want to learn from just being around with him?
I think it's been great with Drew. It's been very natural. We've been able to talk about everything and nothing at the same time. Very welcoming person. I think he wants us to get better. The way he communicates with me, especially on the court, especially during while we play and stuff like that, really trying to explain to me small things here and there, even offensively. It's not straight defense. Just his knowledge. He's a veteran. He's been doing this for a lot of years, won twice. So being able to pass down this knowledge that he has to all the young players out here, I think is crucial for us, and he's been doing great all summer. So, no, I'm super excited to get on the court with him for sure.
Anybody here particularly looking for to take a step up with Scoop being out?
Can you say that again, please?
Anybody you were looking at to take a really big step up with Scoop being out for a couple of weeks?
Oh, I think everybody. I feel like the team that we have can be very interchangeable. Can have so many different lineups. So I think it's just Scoop can have such big impact on our team. So I think it's him being out is we're just gonna have to figure out something to bring his speed to the game that he's not bringing if he's not with us, and his leadership also. I think it's all that things that Drew can help with. Even Dame can help with just by talking to us on the sideline. And I feel like, just pushing the ball. I feel like this year everybody's a little bit more confident, and we trust a little bit more our roles and what we can do individually. So I think no matter who's out, I think we're going to be able to hold our own, but it definitely hurt us to not have Scoop for sure.
Tumani, what are your first impressions of Hansen?
Very excited. His knowledge to basketball, he's very smart, very happy kid, happy man, my fault. He's a young man, my fault. But it's been great. It's been great. His development been very awesome to see. He's getting better by the day, and I think his touch and his feeling for the game is just very natural for him, and it's nice to see.
Have you guys been sharing some time on the court yet?
Yeah. So during the summer we played a ton. I think that was the biggest emphasis that Chauncey had for us, is he just wanted us to play because we're a very young team. So he just wanted us to go out there and make mistakes, and being with Hansen, seeing how selfless he is. He doesn't really care if he scores or not. He's going to try hard a lot, but it's an adjustment for him for sure. But no, he's been doing great, man. So yeah.
You made the second team all defense, and it's something you kind of prided yourself on, is working towards that. Not that it gives you kind of a green light to go away from that, but do you feel like you're confident enough now defensively where you want to try to expand your offensive game a little bit more to try to complement that?
For sure. I think everything was step by step for me. I was drafted 52nd, got traded within a month, so it was really hard for me to find my identity at first, and then I think I was giving a lot of free space defensively, and I think that's just where I wanted to take off, and that's what got me here today. And like you said, I feel like I can't really be stuck on just being a defensive player. I feel like I always knew how to play offense at a high level. It's just I'm out of position. My whole career in high school and in college, I was a 5-man, so it's a lot of adjustment to that. Being able to learn how to even dribble the ball. I had to go back to fundamentals, how to properly dribble the ball, how to properly run to space and stuff like that. So it was a lot of things that I had to learn the past 2 years that was just out of norm for me. And I'm very excited what I'm gonna be able to show this year, and I feel like my offensive game is improving every time.
Have you or your reps talked to Joe about a contract extension?
I leave that to my agent. I'm really more focused on basketball. It's only my 3rd year. I'm still trying to kind of understand this business side of the sport, but no, it's more just try to focus on basketball. How can I get better on that aspect, and everything gonna work itself out. So.
Do you know if they've had discussions?
I think it's a possibility. Like I said, I'm trying to kind of stay away from that right now. Trying to really not preoccupy myself. Like, if I take care of my business on the court, I think everything gonna go well outside of it.
Tumani, just in general, obviously when you get your award for defense, Donovan Kling moving into starting role, Drew Holiday, a elite defender. I think Denny even has a lot of possibility on that side as well. Have you thought about kind of the potential for this team as a defensive unit and what that might be?
I think the sky's the limit, really. I think we have so many tools that we can use in different ways, so many different lineups that we can do to mess teams up. So now I'm very excited what we can do on that end of the floor for sure. Everybody got the energy and the everybody want to play defense. Everybody know that that's our identity. So I think it helps even more. Like nobody has to fake it, nobody has to force it. So I think it's becoming really natural for us to pick up full court and just be ourselves and play hard out there.
Any other questions for Tamani? How hard was it to change your hairstyle?
Man, it was tough. It was tough, but I think it was time though. I wanted to grow the sides. That's really why I cut it off. I didn't really like just having the top going, but yeah, it was just I think a little refreshing thing that I had to do. Kind of also moving on. You know, it's the third year. I want to lock in, and I feel like it's a good mindset where I just cut my hair and I don't really worry about getting a haircut for the next 4 months. You know, and I can just lock in on what I want to do. So yeah, that was good.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, too.
Right back.
It was so funny, but it was so spot on.
Right.
But I just keep waiting for him to bring that level of energy today.
The actual physical thing, not till close to the season. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll do a wrap-up video with Sean. Which is fine. And yeah, I just wanted to grab some pictures.
I was trying to sell that. Yeah, you could do that. We don't need you that badly.
Also, like, unless you're like an expert in like speed skating, you know? It was so funny there. It turns out like we're taking a few people who have an expertise. Like we're taking someone from the daily desk who's gonna cover cross country stuff because she did cross country skiing in college, and I was like, what are the odds?
I mean,
Y'all are the figure skating writer, you wouldn't know.
Well, do you know who's covering it? It's Marcus Thompson. You didn't know that?
Yeah.
No, because we had somebody who was like a figure skating.
My understanding is that Marcus asked Zach what is the biggest beat as a Winter Olympics, the thing that the most pressure is.
Like, you know,
Most pressure to fuck it up.
I love it, yeah.
Like, figure skating said great for me on that. So, and also like, I can just like imagine Marcus being like, all the like pomp and circumstance that comes with figure skating, just like being like, this is stupid.
Yeah. Yeah.
The level of
they made you feel
Have I told you, he talked to my,
You should have been the guy.
I talked to my boss last year.
that could happen.
Someone asked him, someone asked him,
I say you'll hear no complaints from me about
and he talked about going to the
Fan Express, that's for sure. I'm a fan. Absolutely.
first time that Sydney ran the conference and then come over with it saying, this is the finest meeting I've ever seen. Marcus, don't say that. He's like,
You.
he's like, and And then she made eye contact with me and I was a puddle and I'm like, oh my god, it was hilarious though, like.
No, it is.
Oh, that's so funny.
And then he won.
That's so great.
Yeah. And he went to play for free.
And he's absolutely right.
I mean, he was always got, he scored in the first. I remember.
Did they hire him?
I don't know. But like, so like, that's the thing. Yeah.
I think he can start on
10 of October. It's real. Yeah. App State.
If you can believe it.
Right. I mean, asking them to get through one, but no, they.
Oh, like is he still under contract or something?
Oh, I mean, I'm sure they're gonna have favorites, right? Like, how do you favors? So, I give it to him, yes. I mean, I just like his last. They'll do those frustrating situations. They'll win like 4 more games and just show, hey, we could have gotten 6, but I mean, we're the real.
Well, like, that's tough for ESPN, isn't it?
Enough time.
And try and make it happen.
Usually it'd be better for me to run it at this point with how negative our fans, the Beavers, Edgers are.
I bet if you saw him, like, he did reset. He was retired.
Yeah. Even just like the more like thing that I yeah. Like let's just
It's not quite the same, but it's worth coming to. Fantastic.
Right. You know, Chris, it's been your 3rd time. We just, keep going. Right?
Maybe a full size performance of what the hell he's. I think that's gotta be it. That would be great. It's gotta be what the hell it is.
Whatever you saw. His team focus there, that's what he thought, 5 to 7, maybe 2. And I can't. Yeah.
All right, we'll see you. All right, take care.
All right, Giannis was open for media day.
Again, basketball and baseball.
And that's, do we have?
So like that part, no, it's just like, especially after fans. Yeah, they know they have to. No, yeah. Compared to your. We're not even on. You could argue how much there's students that figure that especially are. You have to get out from
Y'all want that early?
Is it Espanol?
No, Espanol.
So Scoot, just first off, the injury, kind of your thoughts on it, disappointment. I mean, everyone's been talking about how hard you're working in the off season. So just kind of where your head is at after kind of that unfortunate news.
I'm feeling good. My head is where it always is, controlling what I can. Obviously, you know, it's a little minor setback, but things like this, you come back stronger than ever. So, you know, it's obviously tough for when you go through the off season and working really hard and then weird accidents happen. But I'm just blessed it could be worse than it is. So,
Scoot, what was it like this summer, doing those workouts and those runs with Drew, knowing that you're going to play with him?
oh yeah, that was fun. That was fun. just getting used to my teammate. Just getting used to my teammate playing along, playing against him. Obviously one of the most premier defenders that the game has ever seen. So for him to pull up on us in LA and for us to get some work together and against each other was fun.
Through no fault of your own at all, but you were kind of the impetus that started the Damian trade. So just what has it been like for you now that he's back?
Hey, Rip City got what they want, man. So I'm happy that Dame's back and he's back at the crib. Just some veteran togetherness with Dan coming back and also Drew. I'm just ready for the season.
What is it like for you to just have actual veteran point guards on your team? Because you haven't really had that as much in your career.
Yeah, it feels good. I mean, it's cool that, I've been able to be blessed in the position that I was in my first year, my second year, and then now that I have Dame and Drew. Looking back, just Anthony and Malcolm, those guys were amazing to me. And, they taught me a few things here and there, but to actually have some veteran and really experienced guys like Dame and Drew, man, it's going to be fun. I feel like it's going to be fun to play along, play all that.
Is there anything specific you worked on for your own game this season or this summer?
Yeah, definitely worked on a whole bunch of things, but the more detail you can work on something, the better you get at it. So I've been working on just shooting off the catch and shoots, off the dribble. A lot of just my pickups, staying solid within that follow through. I think that was my biggest thing this past off season. And also just make sure my body's getting rest, make sure it's getting recovery, really focusing on that and focusing on that this upcoming season. Hopefully just a big role. So.
Sideline the next month or so, what will you be able to do, and what's your mindset, opening the season in this position?
I'll be able to watch. That's always a great thing to do, to be able to watch, see how I can be implemented into the offense, with the things that we have going on here with the Blazers. It's going to be fun to watch, and, just knowing that if I was out there, I could control something. And that's going to be a little hard for me because I love the game of basketball. I love to play and be out there with my teammates out there grinding. But being able to watch is also a blessing in disguise.
If you look back to yourself this time last year, what do you think you grow as a person and stepping into your third year of the career? What are some of the expectations that you set up for yourself?
I feel like looking back last year, I just matured a lot through the off season. Usually I just work and things like that, but and then put my body last. And I feel like this off season and season ahead of me, I'll be doing that on a daily basis, just taking care of my body and things like that. Not just because of the accident and things like that, but just knowing that you got one body. And I knew that, but I think just taking that into action, and I feel like I matured in that area a lot.
Is this the most serious injury you've had?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, all injuries are pretty serious, but I feel like this is probably the most, I guess.
Can you take us through what happened when you injured your hamstring? Joe mentioned it happened during a scrimmage.
Yeah, it was during the scrimmage, misstep. It was nothing really crazy in the video. I just kind of just went for a little loose ball. Wasn't too far. I think I just extended too far, but.
Do you have a goal in mind when you'd like to be back on the court, or is it just sort of a matter of seeing how the hamstring responds?
Sorry, one more time?
Do you have a goal in mind when you'd like to be back, or is it just seeing how it responds?
Man, it's week to week for me. Just seeing how it responds, with the amazing team, PT team that we have with the Blazers organization and my team as well. Man, we'll be back up and running.
Scoot, obviously the run-up's going to be a little bit different for you now with the injury, but Chauncey was talking about how bringing in Saint and bringing in Thiago and how different the offense is going to be less static. There's going to be more movement, more unpredictable cuts. You've said so many times over the last couple of years, you just want to hoop, you just want to go out there and play. Like when you hear Chauncey say it, when you guys are kind of going through this stuff, does that, again, in spite of the injury, does that kind of empower you and make you feel like that this is going to be more complementary to how you want to play?
For sure. I think the way we're playing this year is going to be a lot faster. We always talked about how we wanted to play fast, but there was never really any construction around it, so we were kind of just free roaming a little bit. But I feel like this year with Saint and Thiago and CB with the head of the snake, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Like you said, a lot of unexpected cuts, and I'm gonna be able to know where everybody's at. You know, we're all gonna be moving in unison, so it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. We're gonna be playing fast, getting up shots. So.
What were your first impressions of Jan Hansen?
Man, I call him Hein. Like, you gotta do the nene when you do the Hein. But yeah, I'm telling you, is he coming here yet? Nah, yeah. Hopefully you do. I'm gonna tell him to do it. But man, that's big fella, man. He's skilled, like really skilled. I remember seeing him. I think it was one of the pre-draft work. And I'm like, I don't know if you can talk about this, but hey, I seen him. He was he was doing good, man. He was just out there balling, man. And I remember talking to with a few of my teammates at the time. We're just like, sheesh, like, you got bag work. But nah, I feel like Han's gonna do really good, man. I'm gonna just try to do my best at, you know, coaching him while I'm on the floor, and the rest is up to him. You know, he's really skilled, really basketball oriented, and he wants to learn. He's smartest. He's smart whether he knows a lot of English or not. You know what I'm saying? So he knows a lot of basketball terminology. So it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun to play with him.
At Summer League, some of his teammates were teaching him different English phrases and words. Have you guys been doing that this summer?
Yeah, we've been trying to. Like I told you, I've been, you know what I'm saying, a little joyful bag. Trying to get in there. I know how it is to be kind of a rookie, and I don't know how it is to be a big and not understand too much English and you're surrounded by it now, but I can kind of just give him a little feel with him and Caleb. Just try to make it fun. You know what I'm saying? Try to make it fun while you're here. You know, we blessed to play this game that we love, so why not have a little fun with it?
Any other questions for Scoop? All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Scoop. Thanks.
Big win this weekend.
Little Brown Stein, big win.
I don't know if it's out. I think it's being called.
Yeah, sure. It's after the third. You gotta give the up and down. We have the most counts points. Then technically no, but I don't know if they. Yeah, you could argue that by slide first. They came up to our level. Great. I think there's a sense that well, okay, sure. Well, yeah. Because we can. And if we lose a bunch of guys, like, you almost don't see it.
Right. Yeah, just the numbers are
Like, we could get into the point where, like, okay, maybe we should have have enjoyed doing this. Great. Next time, if you find yourself in there again, which you may not, you may still I think that would be it's a cool little village there. Yeah. I really had never been over there. Yeah. Which is true. I think the thing is like you point out, just like everything right now is all straight to games. You can't get that biggest play, and especially if you're not a guy who has long hands. It's just really hard. Like you have to have time to go. It's like skill development. That's why. European leagues were.
Of course, for Jeremy Grant.
They're able to do more than that.
How do you feel your offseason went?
went well. Great off season. Got to get back home. Work on a lot of things, I wanted to work on. So definitely excited about the season.
Jeremy, last time we talked to you at X interviews, you were pretty frustrated. Where are you at mentally heading into the season, just in terms of where you fit, the plan, all that?
I think we took some strides to get better, especially this offseason, getting Drew, Dame back. I think I'm excited. I think we're definitely moving in the right direction. I think everybody's goal is the same now. I think we're moving towards winning, so I'm excited about it.
A lot of talk about defense being your guys' identity. What do you think is the ceiling of this team's defense? How good can it be? And what does that look like? What is, when you guys are clicking on defense, what do you think that's going to look like?
I think we can be a top defensive team in the league. We had a ton of length. We have a ton of physicality. A lot of guys who can shut their man down one-on-one defense, and a lot of smart players, a lot of defensive awareness on the court. So I think we can be a top defensive team in the league. We just got to make sure that is our identity, like we're saying. So.
Jeremy, what does Drew bring to this team?
A lot. Vet leadership, and then winning mentality. It's won 2 championships. I think he's a winner. He's a winner. He's a great player. He's extremely talented. So I think he brings a lot to the team that helps to change and shape the team differently. So.
Jeremy, you, Dame, and Drew obviously all play together on the Olympic team. You guys won a gold medal together. Like, how much do you kind of look at that and use that experience and that time that you guys spent together and being able to kind of transition that into this team?
I think it's huge. Knowing these guys, obviously played with Dame before he left and came back. But first time getting to play with Drew in the NBA setting. But to be able to play with them on the biggest stage just allow for us to mesh, right? Like I got to talk to Dame when I was out there, and Drew a lot also when I was out there. So those were a few of the guys that I actually, got to build a relationship with. So excited to be able to be here and try to translate whatever we can from winning a gold medal together.
What was your first, thought when you heard the news that Dame was coming back, considering, Dame was a big part of getting you here in the first place a few years ago?
I'm excited. I think that shifted the mentality of what it was for the last few years, mentally, going into the season not knowing, whether we wanted to win or lose or whatever. But now I think it's definite. I think everybody's on the same page, and I'm looking forward to where we're headed. So.
Jeremy, it's been 5 years since you came off the bench, I believe. You haven't come off the bench since maybe the bubble. Have you considered a role where you would have to not start games here, or is that not something you've thought about?
Nah, I don't really expect that. So.
Do you feel like there's room for you, Tamani, Denny, all as part of the starting lineup together?
Yeah, I think we all are versatile. I think we all can play multiple positions. Yeah, I do.
Jeremy, have you been approaching to the rookies yet? And more specifically, what's your impression of Hansen so far?
Yeah. Rookies are really talented. Hansen is really talented, really skilled. He's getting better every day. He's learning. He has great footwork. Just teaching him the ins and outs of the NBA. I try to, talk to him, whenever I can, and, telling him where to be on the court and stuff like that. But I think he's doing great. I think sky's the limit for him.
Jeremy, last year you had some frustration with, just kind of where you fit in the offense. You were a guy that kind of worked in the mid-post and kind of shifted more analytically towards threes and shots at the rim. Entirely new offense now with St. Tiago and CB just kind of putting that together. How do you kind of see yourself in your game fitting in that, and how much of your game is going to have to change to fit that?
I think, definitely very frustrating, last year with the offense and things like that. I think this year, CB, Joe shifted, the coaching staff to where the offense is different. The offense is different. I think it does fit what I do on the court. It's definitely an open offense to where it's a lot of driving kicks and swings and motion offense. It's a bit random, but also at the same time, there's a structure to it. I think it fits. I think it fits my style of play. I think there will be a lot more open shots, a lot more driving opportunities. It won't be anybody standing in one spot, anybody standing in the corner. So I'm excited for it.
You've spoken about that frustration a little bit. Just after you left your exit interview last year, did you think you would be back here again this year?
Probably not. I definitely didn't, but I'm happy that I'm here right now. The way the team is structured and everything, the changes that were made, I think it's beneficial for me and for our team. So.
All right. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Joe. Donovan.
Just a mid-major preview. Do you know who else is going to start for VCU? Because I don't.
There's a kid from Arizona. Terrence Hill.
He's not. He must not be good, Brennan, because he's not in my list of projected starters or top bench players.
I do not think that he's supposed to be. He's probably at least another year.
Here's an interesting fact for you. Marquette, for the 4th year in a row, did not take anyone out of the transfer portal.
That is crazy.
What's this like, just wearing a Blazers uniform right now?
Pretty cool. It looks pretty good on me. I'm not gonna lie to you. Number 5 is different, but feels good.
Why that number?
Weren't many options. There's really no tie to the number 5 for me. So.
True, when the trade was first agreed to, there were some draft picks in the trade that ended up getting taken out when it was finalized, and they said that we heard that it was because of medical stuff. Are you all good medically, physically?
Oh yeah, I'm great. I'm good to go.
Yeah. Did you have a sense at the end of last year that things were going to change in Boston and that you might be in this situation where you're on another team?
Definitely had a sense, just new management, contract situation, money situation. I think everybody kind of knew that there's going to be some changes. And once those changes came, they made it known to us that things possibly could happen. So it was known.
I'm sure you probably weren't surprised when you were traded, but how surprised were you when you found out you were traded here?
Yeah, I was actually really excited because of the relationship that I just built from the first time I was traded with Chauncey and Joe. Them being so great to me and gracious, sending me to a spot where I got a chance to win, and them circling back and coming to get me is kind of full circle.
What did you spent a lot of time out in LA this summer with Scoot. There was some of that on YouTube that a lot of people have seen. What did you see from him, and kind of what are your impressions of him kind of working with him on a pretty consistent basis?
I love his work ethic. He is a gym rat. That's one of the biggest things I think for me, because I was the same way. I'm a little older now, but I think just to see him in the gym, dedicated to his craft, learning new things, asking me questions, asking CJ questions that we work out with. But not only that, you see him in open runs, you see him working out, waking up at 5. You can see the dedication to him getting better, and that's something that I love. And then just getting to know him as a person.
he's hilarious. He's funny. Obviously, a bit younger than me, so getting a chance to get to know him on that level has been cool.
Drew, what are your thoughts about what this team could do from a defensive perspective? Obviously, you're a fantastic offensive player. I think the roster, they've been trying to address that part of the ball more. Can you just speak what you've seen so far of this team and where you guys might be able to go defensively?
Yeah, defensively, I think we'll have a good chance of being really, really good. You've already seen last year in 2. You've seen it in a lot of these guys. We got Jeremy, we got Scoot, we got guys that can pick up full court, we got guys that can play 1 through 5. We got rim protection and Hansen and Rob and DC. So I think defensively we're going to be really, really good. Very athletic. Be able to switch at times, do different type of things that can throw some teams off. But the athleticism and the defensive mindedness is there.
Drew, the first time in many years recently, the first time the team actually brought a player who had a championship experience. What are the things that you're trying to bring to this team, and what were your expectation of the team at overall success when you seeing all those young talent here?
Yeah, I just think I try to bring that mentality of coming in and working every day. I do think that it is consistency. I feel like it's obviously very, very hard to win a championship, but and winning's hard in this league, especially here in the Western Conference. So to bring some consistency, I think is very, very important. And then my expectation is to win games, to see what that's like. Obviously, I know when you have seasons of not doing so well, it can sometimes get discouraging, but we want to stay positive. We want to be very, very encouraging and win games.
Drew, basically every stop in your career, you've been a guy who can toggle up, toggle down on offense, whether it's in New Orleans, in Milwaukee, Boston. You fit in so many different systems. When you look at what CB and Tiago and Saint are trying to do and being more random, is that something not only for you, but something you can kind of impart on the young guys of like how to actually do that, the difference between being a guy and being the guy and working within that, just because it's so different kind of from what the systems have been here for the last decade?
Yeah. I think I've done a little bit of both. I think I've been the guy and I've been a guy, and I think to be a star in your role is very, very important. So that's something that I do definitely bring, and something that I will teach, or even just by actions, because again, for me, it's all about winning and whatever it takes. So I don't want to say fit into the mold, but being the best I can in my role is something that's very, very important, and to be able to do it with the offense that we have. How fast we are, how athletic we are, how we can get steals and rebounds off the break and push it into the open floor, I think is really going to be beneficial to us.
In your experience, good defensive teams, do they have a common trait or anything like that?
I think it's a lot of everything. I think one big thing is rebounding. Rebounding is huge. Obviously, when other teams get offensive rebounds, that's it kind of steals that energy. It takes that momentum away. Not only that, I think direct drives to the basket where our guys get blown by is something else that really can kill a team's defense. You've seen guys from last year. You've seen these guys really be able to lock in defensively, and now that we have so many guys that are like that, I think it's going to be really frustrating for offenses. So us getting more steals, I think is going to be great. Less paint touches and less threes for the other team, I think is going to be great. And then how athletic we are in transition is something that's an advantage for us.
What have you seen from Hansen so far on and off the court, and how much do you think he can contribute to the team right away?
Yeah. To be so young, he's very, very skilled. He's a very, very smart player. He's huge, by the way. He's really tall. So I think his mobility, how well he's able to move at his height is an advantage, especially for him. He can shoot. He can pass. And I think with that, especially in the league now, where it's not really like you throw it into the post and give it to a big and he goes. Him being able to play off the pass and play with athletic guards like the ones that we have, I think it's going to open up a lot for him. And then he's just so open to learning the language, learning just the game, how we play it over here. And then off the court, he's just hilarious. I think he really just enjoys life. He enjoys being here, and that's really good to see.
Drew, looking at the defense, can you just Klingon, the importance that he brings, down low, just can you describe how important he is?
I think one of the first times we played pickup, he blocked my shot, and I told him don't ever do that again. But he's he's a rim protector. I was in Boston when he was at UConn, so the year that they won, I think being able to kind of watch him from a college perspective and then kind of see him here and just how much he's grown and just from college and then having a year in the league has been great. So rim protection from him. You also have Rob Williams, who is a great shot blocker, and I'm sure he learns a lot from him as well.
You blocked your shots inside?
He has not. He's tried though. He's tried. You should ask him. I don't know if you already had him. But he hasn't blocked my shot after that.
To go back to the number, 4 and 21, obviously taken to the ones you've worn before, but did you have 11 as an option?
I did not have 11 as an option. I would have for sure went back to 11, which is my first number in the league, and feel like I played half my career in 11. But no, it was not an option.
Drew, I think there's a kind of a narrative that you're here to mentor and that you're in the twilight of your career. Is there anything kind of inside of you that it's like, hey, I still got it.
I mean, I think everybody here knows that I still got something. I think for maybe the last couple of years, like I said, I've started my role, and that's what was needed to win. So whatever it takes to win, that's what I'm gonna do. Can I still defend? Yeah. Can I still score? For sure. But I think at the same time, being able to build something here is something that's super important to me. Building a culture, winning culture, and then showing that even though I'm 35, I still got a lot left in me. It is something that I'll show.
Thank you.
Thanks, Drew. Thanks, Drew.
What?
Well, really, yeah, great. I was surprised.
I don't see 11 on here. Number 11.
12, sorry, yeah. No.
Last year was Bryce McGowan, so it's not here anymore.
It's like a late decision.
Malcolm Brogdon getting 90, you're 2
Yeah.
and then the season started. No. So he might try to win something.
Yeah, maybe it's like a timing thing too. Like, should be good, right?
Actually, a bunch of guys. I mean, Josh Flores.
I'm terrible.
Yeah, Josh Brogdon, McGowan.
How's the off season?
How's the off season? Off season's been treating me well. Just putting in work. I'm more excited for the season to come though. It's been like 5 months, so I'm ready.
What was your biggest area of focus or areas in the offseason?
I'd say my all around game, but really focus on just shooting the three, more fluent. My ball handling and just decisions coming off the screen. Also was watching film, just on previous games, so just watching that.
Shaden, are you expecting you and Joe to get an extension done before the end of the season, or where are things at on that right now?
Right now, I'm just leaving it to my agents. I'm letting them handle it. I'm more focused on my work and just the season. So just getting ready for the season. Just excited.
You expect to be a starter this year?
I don't expect anything really. I just expect for me to come in and help this team, whether that's coming off the bench or starting. Doesn't really matter to me. I'm just gonna come out and do what I got to do to help this team.
the team parted ways with DA and Ant, who were a big part of the offense. Do you feel any pressure or any need of you to provide more offense than what you provided till now?
No, I don't feel no pressure. You know, I feel like the guys we got here are special. You know, we've been practicing for 3 weeks now, so just building that chemistry and just knowing each other, I think we'll do fine.
Where you are, you think, as far as where your season can go, your ceiling?
I think we can go as far as we take it. Whether that's play-in, playoffs. I feel like if we really lock in and do what we got to do, we could take it as far as we want.
Shaden, do you feel like that you have anything to prove this year?
Nah, I just want to come out, play basketball, play hard, do what I got to do to help this team. So.
You don't feel any added weight just chasing the contract? Obviously, it's such a big season from that standpoint for you.
Not at all. I mean, at the end of the day, it's just basketball. I'm gonna come here, play basketball, again, do what I got to do to help this team. So no pressure at all.
Last season, you were healthier and be able to play more games than your rookie year. Does that give you like a clear vision or sense that something that you could probably do or set as a goal in your future?
Well, I'm just gonna, do what I gotta do to take care of my body to play as many games as I can. So that starts off court with HMP and, like I said, just doing what I gotta do to keep my body healthy.
I'm always curious when I hear guys say they're watching a lot of film in the off season. What are you looking for? What kind of things do you see from that, and how does that help you?
I'm really just looking at different coverages. How different teams play me in certain situations. I watch a lot of that, and then also other players. Really, watching film on Anthony Edwards, Devin Booker, really players that play my position. So.
As one of 3 players on this team who played with Damian Lillard, if I would have told you this time last year that Dame was back on this squad going into this season, what would have your reaction been?
What you mean, like my?
I guess just what is it like? What was your reaction to when you found out Damian was coming back to this team?
I mean, I wouldn't say I was surprised, but I kind of figured, he would come back home eventually. So I mean, I wasn't really surprised. I was on a flight on the way back to Portland, so that's when it happened. That's where I was at.
You had talks with Chauncey regarding what he expects of you and your role in the next season, and also did you initiate anything from your end?
Any what?
Anything from your end as far as what you see your role to be, your offensive responsibilities, and so forth?
No, I haven't really had no talks yet. I'll probably meet with him soon, but the talks so far have just been, just playing my game, just playing hard. I mean, we just been running, and hooping. That's it.
You mentioned the workouts the last few weeks, but in addition to that, how do you individually and then the team as a whole sort of pick up where you left off the second half of last season?
I mean, us players are familiar with each other, some new coaches. I don't think it'd be hard to pick up where we left. We just gotta, keep playing together, and that's it.
What's your favorite part about this team and the roster?
Favorite team about this team and the roster? Probably just playing with these guys, man. They push you in practice. They play hard, and we got some young guys and old guys, so it kind of evens itself out. And these guys are just funny and fun. So.
What do you think of Hansen?
Hansen. I mean, he's what, a 7-footer that can pass the ball. He can dribble a little, shoot the 3. I think he's a special dude and can really take this team to the next level.
Thank you, Shane.
Thanks, Shane.
3. Test, test, test. 1, 2, 3. Check, check, check. Test, test. 1, 2, 3. All right.
But like, you scored 10 points a game in the Ohio Valley Conference, like, what am I supposed to do with this?
Like,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
like, is it, and I do think this conference like that is hard. I think that that is like some of these guys, I'm just like, who is this kid? Like some
The assembled team is pretty good. I don't know. Well, I mean,
Yes, yes. Oh, yeah, hell yeah, we need that. We need that.
translate to wins?
So 4, yeah. I don't think Chris is here.
Joseph Sandin?
This is all very helpful. Thank you.
They're all running together.
Can do that.
And we'll hold water.
Hansen, Rob, Donovan.
That's a target.
They gotta do that. That's probably all.
There's just so many
Story on this. I don't know. But also,
It's also like, it was really funny, I was giving CJ shit because here at the Big Ten, which was 6,000.
Okay.
And he's like, there's like 2 teams in the Big Ten. I'm like, yeah, but like 4 of them shouldn't be allowed to have a basketball team, so I don't think we need to give them a 300-word preview.
Why do you sand inside the stein?
Everybody else is going 5, 6, 7. I know. It's sort of.
And like, I understand it's a completely different process. Egypt is so
So, here's my question, I guess there's a big
No, it says he's still gonna be at the Athletic, so it's just a side gig. Sorry, say that again.
Was I even? I asked him about his
What did I just said something about?
Yeah.
Man, I'm not even reading pre-sales.
Guy from Maryland.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
like the NIL. Commitments. They have fresh. Money.
Well, I think that what's gonna
These are
happen
like,
is.
we're gonna have a lot of those. There's something with the House 7 or something.
Yeah, there's a cap,
Yeah.
but.
And then Big East schools.
Exactly, yeah, that was what I wrote, like, just using the perspective of last year, when we see Big East down to the top numbers.
Yeah.
Because like, most power schools anticipate getting $45 from the
Yeah. There we go.
Yeah, I'm watching something that plays and he's like, not right now. He's like, and she's injured.
Oh, man.
And I was like, right, but that is making me
Yeah, I want to see culture now. I was impressed with how close the first half is.
I'm so obsessed with the throw and
No, okay, so,
We've learned around my age. I haven't seen Gary Henderson in person. I got this scout I thought was only like Henderson. Doesn't set my heart rate. That's cool. Kind of reminds me a little like Elton Brand. Elton Brand was a really good player. Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here we go, the main event. This is more popular. Yep. It's probably gonna change.
All right. Questions for Hansen? Obviously, Chris is here to translate.
I was told to ask you by Mike, what's your favorite food in Portland since you got here?
hot pot, hot pot.
From a specific restaurant?
Happy Land?
Happy Lamp in the Bifton, yeah.
The NBA is playing 2 games this year in Macau, and I'm wondering, would you like to see more games played in China? And would you like to play at some point in China with the Trailblazers?
嗯，我觉得就是这个以后可以带着就是球队能够回国的话，这也是对于我一份荣耀。然后就是我觉得就是能够在家乡父老面前去展示自己，然后去就是在这么高的平台上，然后开拓者这么好的球队，然后去能够就是在展示自己，是个非常开心的事情。无论是回国还是在这，都是非常美妙的事情。
Like I want to say, firstly, like play as a Blazers, like it's a wonderful thing for me, and I wish that I can take all the players and the management and coaches to China for sure in the future, and just like either way, like play in China for sure. I wish more games in China, and in China or in States, both for me works because like I love this team, I love here, so that works for me perfectly. I just wish that in the future we can head into. I can take my and also play in front of all my homies. That was so like most of the proudest thing for me. Yeah.
Hansen, what was behind your decision not to play for the national team this summer at Asia Cup?
他觉得能不能透露一点细节？就是你今年没有去参加亚洲杯，透露一些相关的细节，有没有背后的故事？
就是自己去年打了1年 CBA， 然后就是打完联赛以后，就是收拾行李就来到了美国，然后准备就是选秀，然后跟着克朗驰在洛杉矶训练。你先说。
I finished my CBA season last year, and I just stayed there for 1 week, and I packed all my stuff heading to LA with Clunch together do the pre-draft workout.
然后一直在连续试训了27天，14个球队， 差不多，然后失去了14支球队，然后就是然后再加上就是完事以后接着跟着波特兰打系列联赛，完事一直就中间没有歇，然后国家队就是觉得就是太阳神没休了，怕出伤病，然后就是让休息，就决定。
I went to 14 teams in 27 days. After that, like I flew to different city, and also after that, I went to Portland for the summer league. And in this period, I never get off. So from national team for their side, like they thought just maybe give me rest is the better choice for to keep away from the injury and make me ready for the new season.
然后就是能够帮助就是准备下个赛季，然后另外一个也是预防伤病。然后领导决定
Like they just had me like, hey, Hansen, better just don't go with us. Like, get a couple of days rest and be ready for the new season.
Planning or hoping to play for the national team later on in your career, like at the Olympics or FIBA World Cup or some of the bigger stuff like that?
希望代表国家队中国队能重返奥运会，包括能去世界杯闯一闯吗？
我觉得这个是作为运动员最引以为傲的事情，就是能够站上奥运会的舞台。你先说。
If I can help the China national team back to the Olympic, that would be the biggest honor for me.
就是自己不能说能够做的多么完美多么啥的，就是尽自己所能去干好每件事情，然后就是希望自己能够更为国家队更多出一份力。
I can't say I'm a perfect player, but I will do everything I can do for the national team to bring them back.
Hansen, what have you been working on since the end of Summer League here in Portland, and how is the process of getting to know your teammates going?
从夏季赛结束之后回到中国，然后又回来，这段时间练得怎么样？然后你怎么跟队友相处？
就是 smile face don't punch.
Okay, that's Hansen's Chinglish. Like you will never slap someone who always give you the smile, right? So in the beginning, Hansen always smiled too. I smile to my teammate all the time.
就是笑呵呵的，就是说错了也不会挨打呀，就是类似的。
Even I say something wrong or act something weird, I just use my smile to stop them to next move.
And Scoot had said that your nene is pretty good. The Scoot.
我谢谢，sorry。他夸我吗？
That's a compliment, right?
这在夸我吗？
夸你这个是，能不能想跳一跳？
想让我出手，直接这想让我在这出手。
Oh, that will be a little bit embarrassing, so I'm not. 他说你也是新秀，没关系的，出手是你的事情。
汉森现在英语感觉学的怎么样了？就是有没有什么一路上有没有什么困难在学习英语的过程中
So how about the English, Hansen? Like what's going on with the English? How the process works?
I think English bad every day, but sometimes it's Chinglish.
Like about passing, and where did you learn that art?
就是看就是看一些集锦，然后就是sometimes I watch highlight， 是 highlight 吗？然后 after 去想，稍微想想，然后就是看能不能在比赛里边去运用上。
I will try to rewind that in my brain, so like maybe like on the bed. So once I maybe any moment I can use it, I try to imagine the situation, scenario, so I can maybe in that moment coming to me, I can use it right away.
然后刚才哥哥说的，就是我的传球怎么样？我觉得一般般啊，失误也挺多的。
I got a lot of turnovers too. Like talk about turnovers more maybe.
Limited time you've been able to play with your teammates just over the last few weeks. What's been the biggest adjustment, and what do you think will be the biggest adjustment moving into the season?
你看你才跟队友合练了这么几个星期，时间确实不长。你觉得对你来说最大的调整是什么？包括赛季中会有什么具体的调整吗？
就是说错了，别怨我。
No disrespect, firstly.
I think more fast and more strong in game, and in corner， 在场上
On the court.
on the court, on the court, I want 沟通
Communicate.
communicate. I English 你的 better. I want， 所以说就是这个是要去适应去啥的。
Yeah. I just try to work on my body, be faster and be more physical, and try to communicate with my teammates more by English.
What has stood out to you about your new teammates and how they play the game and how you work with them on the court?
就是跟随大哥们的想法。
I try to follow all the events, see what they're doing, and try to cooperate with them together.
follow 我的 OG 们。
A third of the league are international players, but there hasn't been a player coming out of China who's a huge market in many, many years. How has he been growing up to deal with pressure and the expectations off the court and on the court, and how does he plan to look at it from now on?
现在好久没有中国球员来这边肯定有很多压力。你对这些压力期待你是怎么看待
的？首先我觉得就是这能够站在这边就是一个非常荣幸、非常开心的事情，就是对于我自己来说，就是职业生涯来说。
For my career, like I can be here, that will be most like the happiest thing for me right now.
就是我觉得就是你做这件事情之前不要想太多。
I still in the process. I achieve nothing in here, so I don't have to think that much right now.
就是做好的事情就是做好训练，然后跟着大哥们打好每一场球，然后打好每一场训练赛。
Focus on my game, just follow my teammate together, see what I can do for them, what I can do for the team.
What are your goals for your rookie season?
打好每一场球，然后争取好每一场时间。
Like focus on every game I have, and treasure every minute I have.
You mentioned in your Players Tribune letter that during draft workouts you were trying to get in your opponent's heads. Have you been doing that during off-season workouts with your new teammates?
Sorry, say it again.
In the Players Tribune letter, he said that he was trying to get into opponents' heads during draft workouts. Has he been doing that with his new teammates?
I try to build brotherhood with my teammates. So
都是我的朋友，都是我的兄弟。
They're my friend now, so I will not do that anymore.
Have you thought at all, particularly with Scoot going down, your ability to play make, and if that's something as a rookie you feel like you could do in terms of helping facilitate the offense?
Hansen 我觉得就是不能在这儿说，就是能够帮助到什么，就是尽自己所能去干好自己每一件事情，然后传好自己每次球，然后抢好每次篮板，就是为球队贡献一份力量。
I can't say I can help the team often that much. I just try to make every pass right and grab every rebound in front of me and see what else I can do for the team.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Hansen.
Thank you.
Yeah, we don't.
Yeah, it's European. So we had a guy. It's he was on a 2-week.
Check. Good. All right.
By the time we got you to Watanabe, he was the GW for 2 years. He had an accent, obviously, but like his English was basically. So I didn't really find that so good. Overseas guys, Bruno Caboclo, English wasn't good, but again, he's been in the NBA for like 7 years.
What? Oh yeah, dude, I got my feet already.
But the major ones, let's see, Robert Williams is not the Clay. Matisse Thybulle.
Yeah. If you're asking my personal opinion, I don't think that has anything to do. I see what you're saying, and I think it's a benefit, for sure. But like, exactly. And I would say too, if you had looked good summer league, I think that maybe you're like, maybe to me it's like it seems pretty obvious the idea. Yeah, I'm not saying they're not absolutely doing that for sure. But I don't think it's like
Program for a while. This is the first year.
They didn't want you over there, it's too late, we gotta go.
Yeah, no, you had a good year in Spain. Usually if like you're like a decent player in the Spanish league as a teenager, and usually like you're definitely getting drafted.
Yeah. Surpassed twice. I've actually been over there 3 times. And you're more than just. Good seeing you guys. Well, I mean.
How we doing, everybody?
Good.
Nice to see you all again.
Hi, Donovan.
Questions for Donovan. Donovan, what was the summer like for you, knowing that you're likely to step into a much larger role in year 2?
You know, it was a summer of really getting the best shape I can, as strong as I can, being able to, screen and roll at a high speed, and being able to finish around the rim efficiently, and really stepping out and working on my 3-ball and being able to make shots confidently and consistently. I put a lot of work in the summer, and I feel like it's gonna pay off.
How much better shape are you in now than you were going to your rookie season?
A lot better shape. I feel like there's times in practice and in runs where, last year I was, absolutely winded, and now this year, I feel like I keep going. I feel like my conditioning is one of the things that has taken the biggest jump over the summer.
Why didn't you play Summer League?
Say it again?
Why didn't you play Summer League?
I just, I feel like, Hansen coming in was giving him time to, showcase what he could do, and, really was just working on my game, and, just building chemistry with my teammates and pickup.
Did you add or gain weight? Was that part of the conditioning process in the summer?
I actually lost weight and really started gaining muscle. I feel like that was one of the biggest things was my weight was affecting me getting up and down the court, so I lost some weight, and I feel the best I've ever felt.
Chauncey talked about a minutes target.
No.
How much you can be out there?
No, not yet. But for me personally, I feel like I could at least double my minutes from what last year, just based on my conditioning and how much I've put the work in this summer, and I'm really excited about this year.
You play like 20 minutes a game last year, so you're gonna go 40.
All right, we'll say at least 30.
You mentioned young Hansen. What have your impressions been of him since you've been around him?
He's a great player. Offensively, I feel like his footwork and his finishing around the rim is top tier. He's doing very well at learning the terms, especially in English. And he's in there early every day and getting work in. He's trying to learn everything he possibly can, and he's coachable. And he's a good guy to be around.
What do you like about the team's defensive makeup, and how good do you think you guys can be on that?
I feel like defensively we could be one of the best teams in the league. Just with the way that we have, with the guards we have pressuring around around the perimeter, forcing it into the bigs, me, Rob, and Hansen protecting the rim at a high level, and I feel like defensively we could take, we finished off strong last year, but I think we could take an even bigger jump.
How do you feel about your game now compared to the rest of the centers now going into year 2? Now you got a little bit more professionalism under your belt.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I learned a lot playing against those guys. Really just for me, I feel like one of the biggest things that held me back was, my finishing around the rim. Over the summer I've been working hard at, finishing through contact, finishing over height, finishing, both hands, and working on my touch. And, I feel like that's one of the biggest things that will take a jump, with my conditioning this year.
With that same kind of vein, obviously the defense has kind of been the focus of this team, but you've got 2 new assistant coaches that are kind of helping reshape the offense. Kind of where do you see yourself fitting that? You mentioned working on your 3-ball, but Chauncey mentioned things are going to be a lot more random, and you didn't really get those opportunities to kind of showcase some of your passing and your vision. Do you think those are things you can work in more with what you've seen from the offense already?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, space, just with the floor spacing and, with everything that we've been working on, I feel like I could show my ability to pass, my ability to knock down shots, my ability to get, my teammates open shots. I feel like the ball screen game can and will be very effective, especially having Drew in here. He's special, in that ball screen game. And, I feel like this new offense could, showcase not just mine, but all my teammates' abilities to, at a high level.
Drew says you haven't blocked him since you did once, and he said don't do that again. So you gonna get one back once practices start here? Let him know.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna try to get one more. I remember he went up for like a little floater left hand side, and I blocked it. He was like, "Hey, don't do that again." I said, "Hey man, I'm just doing my job."
Wait, so you haven't got him since then though?
No, I haven't got him since then. I don't know if he, just pump fake, passed out, or I haven't had the opportunity to, I should say.
Donovan, does it do anything for your confidence as a young player to know that, I mean, obviously DA is an important player and was important here last year, but that they've moved on from that to really kind of clear space for you almost?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it, gives me the confidence to, go out there and show everyone what I'm capable of, what I'm about. I'm a guy that just wants to win and impact winning at a high level. And especially with the team, we thrive on defense, and that's something I thrive on. And, so just to be able to go out there and, show everyone what I could do, defend the rim at the high level, and, just help my team win.
Were you surprised by DA taking a buyout? Was that something you had any advance notice of?
No, I mean, yeah, I was surprised. DA helped me a lot, transition into this league. That will always be my guy, and, I appreciate everything that he did for me, and, he definitely, helped me take that big jump from college to the NBA.
How's the puppy training going?
Puppy's great. He's a little baby shark now, but, he's going through that teething stage, but he'll be good.
What's been a harder adjustment for you, the NBA or picking up golf?
I have to say the NBA. My golf game is not good. I'm going to keep trying, but golf clubs are going away for a while now.
Any questions? All right. Thank you.
Sure.
Thanks, Donovan. It's probably a bit late now, but can you cut the mic when they're not
not quite cleared to play fully. Like, yeah, do you have any kind of sense of how far away you are from that?
Nah, you know, the biggest thing is just conditioning. You know, me not being out there for a while, dating back to last year, just trying to make sure I'm right when I do get out there, you know, leading by example.
Seems like it's kind of them holding you back more than anything, yeah, just in light of last year?
Yeah, you know, but I feel like I trust the staff, PTs, Joe, you know, to a great extent, you know what I'm saying? So we kind of put our heads together and come up with the best plan.
How would you describe sort of the mental fatigue of coming back from injuries and having to sort of have this conversation with us again and again?
You know it's tough. You know injuries aren't easy for anyone, but you know as soon as I'm back on the court moving and feeling like my old self, you know it's like it goes away. You know I've been through a couple of injuries. I know you know the ins and outs of it. And I learned that you can't dwell on it, you know what I'm saying? Because that's when you start going the other way. So it's all positivity.
Rob, what are your thoughts on the defensive potential for this team? Obviously, you had Drew. You're obviously a top-flight defensive player. Donovan moving the starting lineup as a lead rim protector. Kind of where do you feel like you guys might be able to do on that side of the ball?
You know, I feel like that's what we hung our head at last year. You know, I feel like we got great players offensively, fast players, but you know a lot of mistakes happen offensively. I say that to say, on the defensive side, it has to be a place where mistakes are limited. You know what I'm saying? Because we do have the depth, we have the variety of players, so we just got to hold each other accountable.
Since you guys have been playing fives back at the facility, who's really stood out to you? Like, is there one player you say, like, oh, wow, he's added to his game, or I didn't know he could do that type of thing?
Probably Hans, man. I'm gonna be honest. You know, I ain't get to see Hans a lot. You know, so just watching him adapt to the game, watching him pick up a concept when he might not even understand what you're telling him. You know what I'm saying, or what you're saying to him, and his drive to like play and learn. You know, for sure, Hans.
What have you been able to do to this point, and do you have a target, like you want to be back for the first preseason game or regular season, or what's kind of your mindset with that?
Yeah, so I just been really doing everything that I can do, other than I guess just like full out playing. You know what I'm saying? Me and the PT staff came up with a great date for me to come back. You know I can't share that with y'all, obviously, man. But you know it's something we working towards, and I think it's going great, man. Like you said, to your question earlier, you know it get tough getting up here talking about injuries all the time, but once you see that light at the end, it's like, you know, all the anxiety and the frustration going away.
Is that great date in November, or is that great date in December?
Can't speak on that, man, but.
Are you doing just individual work then, or like 2-on-2, 3-on-3, or, you know?
So it's a little more than individual. You can guess a lot on it, but, you know, all jokes aside, just in a great space, man. Body-wise, mentally. These guys do a lot for me too, you know, seeing the young guys, seeing all the guys get in there and just play, be themselves, pulling the team together, just trying to stay on that track, man, so when I do get back, you know, I'm helping them.
Rob, not to belabor the injury point, we talked last year about when you returned, how good you were feeling in that moment, and to have that setback. How are you able to kind of couch that and keep that positive mentality to not fall into those trappings that you talked about?
Like I said, I feel like I've been through like a lot of injuries, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like the injury I had the year before, that was like, you know what I'm saying, that was probably the most devastating injury to me. And I feel like shit light, you know, I keep this motto, walk around the facility, I always say like shit is light, you know what I'm saying? That's kind of how you gotta look at life, you know what I'm saying? This shit light, just another bump in the road, and I'm almost over. So.
What was your reaction to the news that Dame was coming back?
I'm like, hell nah. Like, is he actually coming back? But to that point, bro, I feel like when Dame had the rally last week, it showed me a different side of, you know, fans in Portland. You know what I'm saying? It showed me, you know, the energy you put in this world. Obviously, I feel like the energy, that's what you're going to get back. You know, you can tell Dame bought in when he was here, you know, and the people still love him. They thankful for it, and they accepted him back, you know, so it was a great thing to see.
How do you think this defense compares to the other defenses in the West?
You know, I feel like we can compete with anybody. Like I said, you know, just a young, learning team. This is kind of a league where you don't get the luxury of saying we're young anymore, you know what I'm saying? So it's on me, it's on older guys like Drew, you know, Jeremy, everybody to just step in and keep the defense up to par and set the standard.
What do you think separates this team, or will be the separator from a playoff berth?
If you want to be honest, man, just locking in and believing. You know what I'm saying? It's hard to believe a lot of stuff when you can't see it. You know, when Dame first came back, he sat me down, he talked to me about them going to the Western Conference Finals. You know what I'm saying? And just the grit that they had, the love for one another to lock in and trust your brother beside you. You know, I think that's the main thing for us, man, just buying in.
You get the sense the guys are bought in?
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Shane, sorry.
My dog. Yeah, I'm always on Shay. That's why I had to bring him up. But nah, the young guys have been making me proud. Roops, City, Blake, you know what I'm saying? All the young guys, even the G League guys. But that's part of me answering your question about buying in. I've been seeing them every day, you know what I'm saying, for the past 2 months come in and I actually realize, okay, I got a footprint in this game, Scoop, you know, everybody else. So.
You bring up Shea, I imagine just because there's so much potential there, so much more he has to give, yeah.
Nah, he like my little brother, man. That's why I brought up Shea. You know, I'm always on his ass, so he's helping me go into a more vet role, you feel what I'm saying? I feel like I help him.
Who's that guy for you in Boston?
Probably Al Horford and Marcus Morris, for sure. You know, I kind of just watched those guys. Al wasn't really verbal, you know, kind of guy you just watch his everyday moves, you learn about him, you know, he help you out. But Marcus Morris, forever one of my top OGs, you know, taught me the game, taught me how to play the game the right way, be professional. So.
You said Hansen made a lot of big strides and stuff in training camp and whatnot. Is there a team that you're excited for him to play that doesn't understand his game that's probably going to be like, oh?
Everyone. If I'm going to be honest, I seen the highlights and stuff of Summer League, but when I got, you know, back to PDX and watched them, you know, and his ability to think on the fly. His ability to think on the fly is like, it's different, you know what I'm saying? And like I said, it's not that many people who can do stuff and they can't even understand what you're saying. You know, like we'll yell at him for 2 minutes straight and he'll happen to get it, you know, so it's different. You know, you can see the fight.
What is that communication like with him? Like, when you are yelling at him 2 minutes straight, is Chris Luke coming over and, like, being a liaison? Like, give us a sort of a, what's that scene like?
Yeah, Chris is always there, you know what I'm saying, to help him, especially when, like, coaches talking and stuff like that. But, you know, sometimes he might not be able to get over to him, and we might have to, you know, hey, look, roll all the way, you know, but he gets it quick, you know what I'm saying? He wants to learn it. That's the most intriguing part about it, so.
Thanks, Rob.
Thanks, Rob.
Thanks, Rob.
Miss you, Casey.
Hi, Matisse.
Question for Matisse. What excites you most heading into this season?
Selfishly, that I get to play. I mean, I missed so much time last year just to be healthy and get on the court.
I was gonna say, like, you were expecting to play so much basketball between 2 summers ago, then through the season, and didn't really get to play that much. So how did your relationship with the game evolve over that period?
I mean, in a lot of ways. One of the unexpected things I had to deal with this summer was trying to pace myself, because I got healthy and strong as the season ended, and that's when everyone else ramps down, takes care of their body, and then gets ready for the next season. And I was getting into full swing, so trying to navigate this offseason was a little different for me, and just wanting to do more, but understanding what I'm preparing for is not an off season, it's a regular season. So to get myself to where I am now, I had to slow down a bit, which wasn't that easy.
With the addition of Drew, with Donovan moving into a starting role, with yourself, like, what do you feel like the defensive potential for this team is?
Massive. Even just like playing games in your mind about what kind of lineups we can put out there, it's pretty fun. Like, we have a few all defensive players and then guys who are right on the cusp. Like, we could put together some pretty ridiculous, as far as just our size and defensive prowess lineups. So, I mean, as a player I'm pretty excited about it all.
Have you had much of a chance to interact with Hansen yet, and kind of what are your impressions of him from what you've seen?
His English is getting better. That's been a big one. I mean, when we've been playing pickup, him and I just happen to have been on the same team a lot of those days, so it's been fun. The kid's really eager to learn. He's got like just some intangibles as far as his feel and the plays that he can make on the court, and then his size is something you can't really teach. And so as he gets stronger and as he gets used to the pace of the NBA, I think he's going to be making some pretty cool plays. People are going to be excited about him.
Is there a specific play from these summer workouts that stands out in your mind, thinking back, like a nice spin move, a nice pass?
Nothing specific, but just generally his passing ability, I think, surprises people, just because he's so big and so nonchalant with how he does it. That's probably been the most, that's the most surprising. And also just some of his dunks are just bizarre, because he's still on the ground half the time, but dunking on someone.
You talked about the couple years you've been here, Chauncey empowering you on the offensive side and how much that's kind of meant to you. You're the kind of guy that plays both free on offense and defense, where you're not kind of pigeonholed. Are you excited about the possibility for what this offense can do with a little more randomness, a little bit more action, a little bit more, I don't know, egalitarian in a sense?
Yeah, this offense, for players who tend to get stuck in the corner, this offense is really great to get you involved, to make you feel like you're involved. And ultimately, with any offense, that's the goal, is keeping guys engaged. And the offenses just have a tendency to have certain players get stuck in spots on the court where they don't feel like they're a part of things. And then that creates all types of problems, whether it's engagement, buy-in, or effort on defense. And not that those are things we're necessarily worried about, but the fact that everyone's going to be more involved, everyone's going to be more of a threat, I think it's going to be exciting for guys like myself and Tumani, defensive players who tend to sometimes get lost in the corners, just to be able to make more of an impact.
How's your filmmaking coming along?
No comment.
that good, huh?
Thanks, Steve.
Chris, how's the summer?
It's been good. A lot of traveling, a lot of basketball, traveling for basketball. No, it's been a good summer. A lot of progress on the court, off the court. I feel like it was my best summer, just like, I don't know, just mentally. So.
Where your body at in terms of the comparison of last season?
I ended the season last year like 210. I think I'm around like 218, 220 now. So gained a lot of muscle, especially like in my lower half, my chest, because I had a couple of chest injuries last year. So I'm trying to avoid that this year. But no, it's been good. Feel healthy as ever.
You say that it was best summer in terms of mental or whatever. Can you just elaborate on what you mean by that?
Yeah, I think it's good to just take breaks when you need to, not just basketball 24/7. Because I did that early in the summer and then was able to take some breaks in July and then refocus for preseason. I think doing that and kind of learning what I need to do in the off season to come into the season fresh, ready to go physically, mentally, has helped a lot. And I learned a lot this summer just in that area. I think maybe in past summers I've gone about it wrong, or I've just done basketball and just didn't make time for myself. So I think it was important to do that this summer.
Chris, you're a guy, you wear your successes and your failures on your sleeve. Do you feel like stepping away from basketball for a time and kind of focusing on yourself and kind of allowing you to have that time, that's going to be something that's going to be impactful for you going forward?
I think so, yeah. Like I said, it was just kind of figuring out what I need to do in the summer to feel fresh, and I think doing that really helped. Like I went pretty hard. I want to say we ended in April, went hard in May, June, July. Had a team camp in Vegas, and then after that took some time off after summer league, and then I feel like I've had a pretty good preseason so far. I think that's due to a lot of just taking a little bit of a break for myself, and I think that's honestly helped a lot, and I feel great going into the season.
What do you think of Hansen?
Great dude, very funny. On the court, offensively he's very talented. Some of the best footwork I've seen out of a big. His passing IQ is really good. You've seen a lot in summer league and what he can do in that aspect. And I think he's grown a lot since then. He's done a really good job just processing everything, being able to learn. I always see him in the gym early. One of those guys who's first one in, last one out, and I think that's huge, especially as a rookie. Just kind of soak in everything you can, especially him just coming from overseas and having to learn English and then basketball. It's a lot. I think he's done a really good job so far.
In light of defense kind of being this team's DNA and identity, can you give us insight into what it's like playing against that defense, pick up and stuff the last 2 weeks? Like what makes it so difficult?
It's fun. It's kind of one of the things I love about this team is how good everyone is at defense. And it makes those workouts very competitive, obviously, and then you kind of celebrate offense a little bit more. When you get the offense going on great defenders, that's kind of one of the best feelings in basketball. And getting stops and turning that into offense is great too. And we have a lot of great defensive guys who are different defensively and unique. And I think that's going to bring the best out of everyone.
Thanks, Chris. How does that work?